Landowners should vote.
Everyone loves a 3D TV.
Try to vote now, Myron.
What I mean is, they have promiscuous type behavior. I mean, they're still, having sex with a smaller portion of the men, but they're still getting a high body count because there's a lot of these guys. So what ends up happening is a lot of girls end up being Eskimo sisters with a lot of other women because they're all smashing the same, minority of men. And this gets, especially like in major cities, like in Miami, for example, right? Like the girls that are going out and doing things and whatever, they're hooking up with the same small percentage of guys all the time.
I never thought about that.
Right? I mean, obviously that's a hyper, analyzed portion of it, but in general,
Well, let's ask the women, do women have too high of expectations for men, and are they hoes?
If they are, who cares? I would say no. I would say,
who's that guy?
I enjoy being a member of society. I like being able to vote. I like being able to have a bank account. And it's so crazy that I'm also a mother at the same time with a husband who loves me and is able to handle the fact that I'm
Oh, I'm already. I'm telling you, for most women, if you give them one of these microphones, they can't not talk like that. I don't know what it is. They just can't not do it. They just end up going, and then this is what I like, and I'm happy. It's like, oh man, take the microphone away.
my own person.
I am my own person?
Well, I think
that's all. Right there. Right there. Covert feminist. Like, right away. Is that Kathy Griffin?
That's actually a good point, though, Myron. Like, is it that bad if a girl has a job and a college education? Like, a driven woman, let's say she's driven to do more than just be a mom. Like, why is that demonized, I guess, in your opinion?
Well, look, I don't have a problem with women, aspiring to go to school and everything else like that. My thing is, I think we just need to be honest with them. If you're going to go ahead and pursue a career and higher education, your chances of finding a man are going to drop off precipitously because your standards go up as you increase your income, your status. Because women are hypergamous. They're not like us. When we get status and money, our standards stay fairly the same, or we just want a hotter girl. But when women increase their status, they want a guy on their level financially, mentally, etc.
It's not even covert, it's overt. Yeah, agreed.
So we just need to be honest with women is the more successful you become, the likelihood of you finding a guy drop.
Redo a skit like this. K-Ram, you actually have a good point. I've actually pondered it, where now you just turn this whole field, which I kind of feel bad because I have a lot of people I'm friends with and I love them. But looking at it, it's like it's at the point where it's hard for me to not turn it into a parody in itself. You know what I mean? But it's tempting. It's tempting.
There's a really
that
funny...
was not the case for me. I'm actually more successful.
Me.
Successful than you are, Myron.
Oh, wow. Shots fired. Well, to be fair,
and I have a baby. Do you have a baby?
You know what's funny to me? I looked around. I didn't see a stove, so I don't know why this woman's here not talking.
Yeah.
Like, I thought we were.
I don't make dinner. I make money.
This is not a kitchen. This is not a kitchen somehow.
It would have been funnier if he just like transformed into a gorilla and he was just like, Aah! And then he just started grabbing her by the limbs and throwing her around the studio. Did I say that out loud? Well, I guess I gotta put this on. I have to put this on private.
Some woman is talking. I don't know. This is the kitchen, but she's talking.
I got an important point for you, Myron.
Yeah.
All that matters in the end is in 20, 30 years, she's already got a genetic leg up with having a kid. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a kid, your line ends. Where's your kid at?
Oh, well, I'll have one eventually. I'm just going to try. I'm trying to pick out my 4 wives first. You know what I mean? So.
Ooh.
I'm picking.
It's actually a good point, Tim.
I'm picking them out.
It's actually a good point. Because that's obviously the weakness. We don't talk about it enough because there's an element of someone like Myron being on like an asset, you know what I mean? Like an asset. So from that perspective, it makes sense. But you can catch these people on these little inconsistencies. Garrett Link, $10. They always bring up the bank account BS. We had a cash-based economy until the 80s. 70% of men had no bank account until there was no practical use. Well, not only that, Garrett Link, that's a great point, but if you pushed it back on her and you said, cool, you guys have a bank account and credit cards, do you know who holds 76, I think we're at 76% of the debt, consumer debt? Well, it's women. So wait a second. Getting a bank account was such a good idea for women, and getting credit cards on top of the bank account was the extension of the bank account. But now you hold 76% of the consumer debt. And is that good? Is that liberty? Liberty and debt for all. Yeah, sounds great. But, oh yeah, what I was going to say is Myron here is one of the examples of people who are sort of like talking about patriarchy, man rules, women follow, get in the kitchen, but he doesn't have anything he submits to. So the kitchen idea, the woman submitting to the house, raising the kids, it's just practical. It's not from a Christian lens. There's no virtue in it from a God perspective, right? And then he says, we're going to get multiple wives. And I mean, I don't understand how, he's buddies with Andrew. Andrew had on many occasions has very coherently drawn out the problems, not just logical problems, but practical problems with the view of having multiple wives. So he's all, I'm waiting for my multiple wives, then I'll have kids. Well, no, that's cope. That's coping. You just want your fun. You just want your amenities. You just want to still be able to choose your women. Because a part of having a high status and being this sort of paradigm of high status men, high value women, this kind of talking points, right? They have these categories. What is it? This is what I would always ask people who are advocating for this kind of view. What is a high valued man or a high valued woman if you don't reproduce? What's the purpose of it? What's the purpose of being a high value man and finding a high value woman if you don't have children, if you don't marry, if you don't, what's the purpose? What is the whole part? What? The purpose of the high value man is that you have a choice of all these women. Well, you keep dipping your finger, no pun intended, right? Dipping your toe in the pond, taste testing everything, and you're literally turning women into low value women. So what it means to be a high value man is that you have access to a lot of women. Well, for what? To have sex with them? Well, a high value man under this paradigm is the producer of low value women. Even Jesse Lee Peterson would understand this. Let's not talk about debt. 37 trillion. Oh, that's just mind blowing, Extanglia. I don't even know what to do with that. I don't even know how to interact with it. And over 90% of the abuse by male intimate partners is from exploiting women's debt. Interesting. Whoa. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
There's another woman here, though. I don't know, Kat. Do you consider yourself conservative or liberal or?
I mean, I consider myself my own person. I'm independent.
I am my own person.
Well, the self-avowed liberal.
I am my own person.
Say I. I say, the two questions. Are women's standards increasing? Yeah, I would say by and large, women's standards are increasing.
Is it a good thing that she's now being plucked and put on all these panels? Maybe. Maybe it's a good thing to fight against feminism, to have this be the speaker, the spokesperson. Sure. But there's an annoyance I have that she's being like, oh, we'll get her. Whatever. Jason Cassell, $10. Myron should have just said, why are you here making money instead of... Yeah, very simple, right? But that's the problem, Jason, is that she can put that back at him, and that she did. So it's kind of like that's the thing, Jason. Ultimately, Jason, as much as Myron can in many ways be on our team, he still needs to have pressure from other men saying, well, hold on a second. Why should she value being at home as a mother if you're not living out the expression of the father reproducing and keeping a mother at home? Where's your mother at home? Where's your mother raising the kids? You don't even have it. You could have it. You have no excuse. You're a high-value man. You have a choice. That's your argument. You have a choice. You're a high-value man. You have the choice of a multitude of women. Super hot women. Super hot women who could be mothers. Whatever. I mean, dude, you have your whole pick. You're at a freaking circus buffet. So it's like, why isn't he at home? Where's his family? You know what I mean? Where's his family? You're getting older, dude. I don't know how old he is. He's getting older. All you guys, Sneeko, the rest of them, they're always talking about patriarchy and woman at home and all this rhetoric. I'm like, yeah. And you're like, where, dude, what are you doing? Where are you? You're still at clubs. You do a podcast and you take everyone on a Carnival cruise line and have strippers. Where's this all? How do you reconcile this? You're a coom machine.
Increasing as they.
He's almost 40. Yeah. That's just dude. The time is ticking. You can't be this guy, by the way. I think. Wait, maybe another 10 years is the limit. You know what I mean? 10 years more, you look at my beard. Look at my beard. 10 years more, you get someone like Gaines with the white hair coming in. He's no longer, doesn't look, without a family, doesn't look right getting in a Ferrari. Without a family, it doesn't look like being the old guy who's still sort of dating the pool, right? Still dating 20-year-olds just for the fun of it. Just doesn't, it's got a limit. Okay, you have a shelf life here. That's a problem with the red pill. Good descriptions, but horrible prescriptions. Yeah. And that's kind of my question, Jason, with any of them is like, what good is accurately describing things if there's no solution from what comes from accurately describing things? That's the limitation. That's why it's like the view has to be holistic, not partial. And, it's kind of like having a weapon at your disposal. How would I put this analogy? It's like the red pill's a weapon that you can use, but it doesn't really belong anywhere. It doesn't really have a place among other weapons. It's its own little weapon. That's it. It's not part of the whole war. It's like this random weapon you find on the ground. You're like, oh, I'll use this.
They get access to work and education. The issue is that they're not really staying single. Most of the Pew research shows that women are dating and dating successfully. The real question that I think is actually at the heart of all of this is are people happy? Are people finding meaningful relationships? And in what ways is society happening and harming them or benefiting them? I think those are the important questions.
Why are those important questions? And why are you dressed like why do you look like Elvira?
I feel like
relationships.
Yeah, isn't loneliness up? Isn't loneliness up, Tim?
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think
dating is down, loneliness is up. There was that graph that went viral that people are
dating. Yeah, lazy eye. I caught that too. Dating successfully.
Basically becoming neats, men and women. Men, they're less conscientious. They're more neurotic. They're less agreeable. They're isolating themselves. I don't know if that's a product of feminism, but what I can say is right now the current system is not conducive to having.
I'm successfully dating.
Relationships between either men and women.
I actually agree. I think that the way that our society has oriented itself, where it's obsession over money and working and
check, please. I'm so glad MadeByJimbob doesn't talk like that. I mean, I zone out generally like all men when Megan or for you guys at home, your wife does some sort of narrative commentary of what's happening, and you're like, do I need to get up? What's broken? Nothing. I'm just telling you what the day is and what's going to happen this week. Okay. But I'm so glad she doesn't talk like that. There's no part of my wife when she's talking to me that's trying to sound smarter than she is. You know what I mean? And I'm so happy. Erudite is stuck in between trying to sort of be almost like a man in a sense. Like she's like, well, I can be in this space and I can talk like this and I can ask questions and end everything on an upward question, right? And everyone's like, ugh. Just please recite the calendar this week.
The betrayal of like family and connection relationship is harming everyone. I don't think that this is a unique like woman problem or man problem. When we're talking about like the loneliness epidemic, it's mostly a male skewed issue, right? Like men,
right.
In the Pew Research, men between the
Chestiny,
ages of like 18 to 25, 1% of them I think hadn't even dated before, whereas I think it was only like 30% of young women.
She sounds exactly like Destiny. Like they have the same pitch and everything. Like that's what makes me wonder, is there like a clone camp? Now, I know I've been accused of like the way I talk might sound like some other person who argues similarly or whatever. People always do that accusation. I understand that we sort of mimic each other. For instance, sometimes I'll just talk like Tucker Carlson out of nowhere. It just comes over me. And I'm like, and then everyone's like, is this a Jimbob show or is this Tucky Carlson live? Like, I don't actually know or care. The value is still coming out of his mouth. But this is like a 1-to-1. This is like she put a helmet on. She put like a Destiny helmet on, and it was a full sensory helmet. It was like a float tank. It was like a fully immersive Destiny float tank, and she was there for months. She came out, she's like, I don't even know. The only thing missing is her little jaw rattle that Destiny does. Successfully dating the same 100 men at their local peers. Ugh, gross. Yeah, so true.
Doesn't that prove Myron's point?
Sort of. I mean,
these women are dating, but the men are not. That means the women are dating all the same guys.
Well, no, they're not. Like most of these women are in monogamous relationships, right? The issue is actually the 20-year-olds are dating like men that are typically.
I mean, I guess the 80s rock and roll hair is kind of cool. Like I wish she had a black. You know those black horned guitars? They're all like sharp. I want her to do like one of those like rock star leaps with her guitar. I want to rock! Suzanne Griffith, $5. I honestly can't stand listening. It's hard. I'm going to fast forward, honestly, Suzanne. You're not alone. It's almost impossible. Really cool of them to put the dumpster on the pan. Yeah. What do I call her? The garbage sausage or whatever? Is a dumpster hot dog? I forgot what it was.
Typically like 4 to 5 years older.
Oh,
a lot
shut
of
up.
girls think that they qualify for something a lot of times, which they actually don't. And sometimes I have to be the reality and let them know, like, look, you're average. You got to be, a little bit more realistic about where you stand.
This isn't really
but
hypergamy,
average women
though.
don't want average men.
This isn't really hypergamy, though, right? Like, what are men typically selecting for in a relationship? Youthfulness, beauty, right? Some level of, like, making him feel good. What are...
No. Why youthful and beauty? For motherhood. You dope. It's not just like the flesh. It's not like, oh, soft skin, tight skin, perky boobs, whatever. There's a reason that's deeper that men prefer or look at that or want that or whatever. There's something deeper there. She's just like, well, they prefer this, this, and this. And we're like, why? Why garbage sausage? Why garbage sausage? Why?
What are women selecting for? Stability factors. And so in this way, women are dating the pool of men
Thank you, Christopher
that give
Scott.
them the stability factors, because it usually takes men a couple of years to get education and a career and like something built underneath them. And men are selecting for the things that they want.
Well, it's not
which
just
is young
stability
and
anymore,
beauty.
is what I'm trying to say. It's not just stability.
What do you
It's
mean?
also, is
But I can fix her, Jimbob.
the guy handsome? Is he tall? Is he charming? Is he charismatic?
Can you imagine taking the babbling of Not So Erudite and you put it in a stripper context? Can you imagine the combo of that? Where it's like, there's always a dude who's in a strip club. He shouldn't be in the strip club to begin with, but he takes this virtuous approach and he's going to be like saving. But can you imagine layering the stripper with that rambling? You know, she's got her butt out and she's like grinding and she's about to take her shirt off or whatever, and she's just babbling. I don't want to animate a stripper, but it's kind of tempting just for the effect of just transporting her audio. And it's just like a stripper dancing. Yeah, stripper's more honest for sure. Yeah, Frank Black, a stripper actually has a more accurate understanding of reality by millions of degrees.
Like, since women make their own money, they're able to be a bit more selective because they don't just need the provisioning anymore. They want other things as well. Is he handsome? How does he look? Etc. So women do have a staked interest now in how a man looks and how he conveys himself as well, since they handle the provisioning part themselves. So it's made women more selective, but that's kind of come at their dismay because now it's harder to find that guy. There's the total package with everything.
Sure. The issue is that, like, the actual problem here is that we're leaving men behind. The issue isn't that we're, like, raising women up. It's
feminism is leaving men behind. You dope. How does she not see this? Look at her blank, dead stare. How do you not understand that the feminist movement, since its inception, is pushing women to be like men? What you get is a bunch of failed men with long hair, right? And the men are going, what's our position? Like, the undermining of what a woman is in society and their duties and what their value is, it's offset now. And so they don't reflect, like, young men don't know their role, because if their role is to sort of be the leaders and step in and be in charge and lead and be the father and be the priest of the home and all of this thing, and they look out into the moat, they just see a bunch of women being like, well, I can do what men do, I can do what men do, I can do it. And we don't want that. Men don't want that. She just keeps failing to see the connection, the correlate, the causal relationship between feminism and men being lonely is because they're in a sea of the other, which is the women, a sea of women who are also just self-interested. They want to do the thing. They want to explore. They want to run the company. They want to do all these things. Of course they're lonely. They're in a sea of hoes. Atheist, priest of their home. Yeah, priest of their home, atheist. Yeah. Do you not understand words? What do you just repeat words? Priest of the home? Those are words.
It's that men are disproportionately being, like, undereducated in school. Primary school is horrible for young boys. We're not giving them social scripts on how to exist. And we're still telling young men that their only value is the amount that they can contribute to the GDP, when in the reality is that, like, what...
Wow. That's rich. That's rich coming from her. That is her position for feminism, is that they contribute to the GDP. And that's a better thing than contributing kids to society.
What women are looking for is men that, like, make them feel valuable, men that they can emotionally connect to. And so
I want to throw eggs at her. Can we just skip to the live debates where people can throw eggs at people? Please? Can we do, like, Nickelodeon debate? You can dump the stuff on them and throw things at them. Please. I would pay $200 a ticket if there was a live debate where you could buy eggs. You had to buy them. It's part of the income. You buy eggs. They're super expensive, too. I mean, we're talking potentially $20 an egg. Potentially. And $100 for an ostrich egg. And you just heave them. You get a nice clean studio up there. You put down a rubber mat. You get your brick wall behind you. And boom, you can launch an egg right at her head.
Like, the real issue here isn't that we're raising women up, it's that we're leaving men behind, which I'm actually very interested in.
Well, I want to make this one point.
I'm very interested in it. Ugh.
So, I think men are victim of what their surroundings, because, the amount of men that have microplastics in their testicles now, seriously, now the amount of estrogen
you're getting some right now.
Exactly. So I'm saying, don't we think men now have higher estrogen levels than ever in recorded history?
Yeah.
So I feel like that is kind of why.
I have a question biologically. If a man has lower T, is it a consequence that they have higher estrogen? Or are those separate but related, or can anyone answer that? I mean, I'll look it up after because it's good to know, but he just said the men have higher estrogen. It's also the case that they have lower. Is that on the same bar? Like your T goes down, it's then what's displaced is, I mean, what's there is estrogen. I don't think that is how it is, but I'm just making sure.
The men are, I guess, coming in second place if we talk about.
Well, there's
It's a
multitude of
problem for
problems.
everyone. I'm only 36 and I've already had cancer.
Yeah.
It's all about you, lady. Everything's about you. Not hitting any eggs. Jimbob, not hitting anyone with eggs with those shoulders. Well, I was a pitcher in high school, so I can hit small targets with my arms. It's a pretty good pitcher. Knuckleball pitcher. Not that fast. Not that fast of a pitcher, but sick curveballs and knuckleballs. That's for sure. Too much cortisol in the blood. Depression. Yeah, I think there's another factor. I wouldn't reduce it all to feminism and loneliness and like the way culture is going away from Christianity and into just strict materialism, which is depressing for everyone. But there's an element of like cortisol, endorphins that we get from just the machines and the screens and stuff that leaves everyone sort of left in the weights wanting for something deeper. So I think it's a multi-layered. I wouldn't over reduce it, but certainly feminism is if it were to be aiding depression for men and not aiding, I would lean on the side of it's actually aiding.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
This is serious
I mean, producing. I don't say aiding like remedy. I'm saying it's producing depression.
thing.
Yeah.
I know, it's serious.
Yeah,
Some
there's
environmental
problems.
shit going on. for
And who's
sure.
in good shape, Kat? Like, you've never been fat or gross?
No,
I'm
not
saying
to
you should-
brag, but I've never been fat. Yeah.
I mean,
How many eggs would have been bought by now? Anyone in the chat? I mean, if it was $20 an egg, my own chat already probably paid for the costs of this event if they sold eggs.
but that does have, like they say, the fatter you are, the more likely you are to get cancer. So I'm just saying there's a lot of toxins in our water, in our food, that are making men, less masculine and less aggressive.
I want to. Maybe I'm just jumping the gun, but I was just thinking about if we want to go into dating stuff. I think maybe we'll come back to it. But
I'm having a weird thing happen right now. I can't distinguish between any of their voices. It's the weirdest thing.
and the question of feminism, the one thing that I really pisses me off.
You got to throw as many eggs as she has left. That's funny.
Women won the right to vote without civic responsibility, and so
They shouldn't have the right to vote.
You can make
Here he goes. So here he goes. At least Tim Pool is taking what Andrew has taught him through him being wrecked by Andrew. This is good. This is good.
the argument.
Repeal the
I think it's
19.
fine. I think it's fine to say women should have the right to vote. However, we got to look at the context in the United States, and that's women do not have an obligation to die in war that men do, but women can vote overwhelmingly for Democrats promoting these wars, and then men are left on the hook for a war they tend not to vote for. That's fucked up.
So,
Uh-oh.
sure, the issue
I'm glad
is,
we're on this topic. Repeal the 19th. I was
Yeah.
going to say that earlier.
Also, the repeal the 19 thing, I get that it's like a fun rhetorical thing that we all do. I do it. But the more and more I add more men into not voting, if you're going to be really consistent and honest with it, dude, you're including a lot of other dudes, potentially even myself, in people who are not voting.
When she was yapping, but that's fine. Yeah, repeal the 19th.
I think only landowners should vote. Let's go back. Let's go back to pre-Civil War. Try to vote now, Myron.
Women shouldn't be able to vote.
I think we have two issues here, right? Number one, the vote has never actually been tied to military service. It's typically citizenship and age, or usually.
I hate your voice. I could stay awake just to hear you breathing. I wanna rock.
Kind of the two main things that we've always used for voting. I would be totally fine with us having an amendment where we add women to selective service. I have no issue with that whatsoever.
Who cares what you think?
Right? And I think equal strokes. The issue is that when it comes to voting, there are going to be topics that uniquely affect men and uniquely affect women. In this case, war does uniquely affect men right now, which might be unfair. But in the case of something like abortion and birthright control and all these sort of things, these disproportionately affect women, right?
No, they don't actually, because that's just a lie. So look to the sky, Steven Tyler. Look to the sky. She just literally mumbles and just doesn't know what she's going to say next. She's just in a constant flow of almost like freestyle gibberish. What she just said is actually false. Disproportionately? No, dude. Look, a man doesn't have a say in their own woman, in this case, whether they're married or not, in whether or not the woman's going to terminate their son or daughter in the womb. That doesn't affect men. Oh, if they decide to terminate it, the man has no say. But if they decide to keep it, it affects the man. The man has to pay for it. What are you talking about, you stupid idiot? Someone better push back on this. Edward Longshanks, $11. At first, I thought you were being harsh on Doug. Oh, Wilson? Then he spoke of the Inquisition through his Reformed Protestant lens, and I wanted to slap the bratwurst out of his hand. Appreciate your tenacity. Yeah, that was silly of him. It's like, by the way, of course you would say that, Edward, because the Inquisition, like if you look at it through the lens of fighting off like some heretical views, of course Doug Wilson would be like, well, that was bad. Of course. Galactic Contradiction, $5. I told my girl if I ever found out she was listening to this, which she will get curb stomped. Yeah, this, like anything on the internet.
And so when we're talking
that is breastiny.
About like who gets the right to vote, is it because of like certain topics uniquely affect one gender over another?
Please, someone, Myron, anybody.
That's not how we've ever tied the right to vote. It could be landowners, it could be multiple things. In America, though, we seem to mostly decide age and citizenship.
But the problem I have is that Democrats have been...
Nope, they're not going to push back on it. Atheist in the chat says, abortion is up to the girl on whether or not she wants to have the baby or not. Oh, yeah, the baby that... So you just admitted she's killing a baby, right, Atheist? Great work! Great work, you demonic, empty freaking... You crab shell? If that man doesn't want a baby, then she can just leave the relationship with her baby and find another man. What she can do is irrelevant to the fact that atheist, she can hold the man responsible if she does want to have the baby, and the man has to pay for it. Isn't that using a man's body, by the way? Isn't the whole paradigm of abortion is don't control a woman's body? And then it's like the man has to pay for the baby? Now, I think the man should. I'm internally critiquing their position. The man has to pay for the baby if the woman decides to keep it on her own. The man has no say. The man has to pay for the baby. That's using a man's body, atheist. You're using a man's body for his labor. Hello? Jay Dyer says, Erudite is the worst of all time. Yeah, that was brutal. That's a lot coming from Jay, who has to deal with some of the worst of the worst every time he does a space and X space. But she's I think, Jay, it's the combination. It's like we've all experienced the gibberating. We've all experienced that. But it's the combination of like how she is, what she looks like, what she sounds like, and what she's saying. It's like the perfect combo for the worst thing ever.
And substantially more likely to vote for war.
Can I donate to get the hat burned? This eagle hat? Whoa, that was good. That was a good one. I should get a super chat just for that one. No. dude, this is epic. This is me as an eagle. Look at those little wings. Look at those little shoulder wings. That wouldn't even feed one person at a barbecue.
To promote war, particularly Ukraine, Republicans have been pressuring Trump not to be involved. His base split over the Iran issue. Millennial women are about 70% voting Democrat. So you have this phenomenon in the millennial to Gen Z younger generation where women are disproportionately voting for a war they have no responsibility in. Or I should say a limited responsibility.
I actually want to say something. If you're on X, there was a recent post from Joe Rogan. So if you're on X and you don't participate much, you should go find that post and make sure that someone like Jay, people put in Andrew's hat in the bucket too, but they do give the opportunity to use some sort of like democratic weight to get people on Joe Rogan, and I think that Jay Dyer is long overdue. So, make sure you make that known over there if they do use that. And because you know what I mean, especially after that Chad Wright dude. You have Chad Wright just saying the worst theological views ever, just straight up. We need some damage control.
It's crazy to me that half the population can vote and the other half to die. And that's equality.
So I'm a millennial woman, and I am married to a veteran, and both of us are very anti-war. He is anti-war as somebody who went over there. I think that to pin the power of the military-industrial complex, which is a...
Craig S., $5. You are the third eagle now.
Very powerful.
I was excited when I got thousands of recommendations a few months ago and saw it was a fan Rogan account. Oh no, that's annoying. I think I fell for it too then.
Powerful force on which...
I think I fell for it. Was that recent? Oh no, that's embarrassing. One shot, $10. When you screeched, you scared the shit out of my cat. She just, yeah, I'm going to get your cat. I'm going to get your cat. They should make drones with eagle sounds at least. That would be really funny. You know those drone videos where the poor like Ukrainian is surrendered and they still blow them up or whatever? Like if you added the element where it's like an eagle sound, it'd be like this weird comedic trolling that at least gave the person you're killing a last quick giggle. The drone comes in and it just does like... And then I would license it anyway. I would get paid. What was it? I'd get paid a % every time they use the screech when they blow someone up.
Women being able to vote is wild, but I also understand
that's a mischaracterization of what I said.
I think I was talking more about what Myron said.
How is it wild for women to not vote if it's not wild for men not to vote? Did you know that not all men always voted? How is it wild? I don't understand. What is this? The wild argument? What is this? If I say it's bizarre and wild, then it's not rational or you can't defend it. I mean, David James Flood, thank you for that.
Than what you said. I understand also that this is like Myron's whole thing, but so you have to say like women can't vote, and then you get attention, and you.
I mean, that's true.
You also kind of act like you invented misogyny, which you didn't.
That's funny.
Like, it's.
That's funny. I mean, that's good rhetoric. That's funny, but I think that's a funny character though. The misogynist who acts like he invented it. Now, I don't even know if that's true about Myron. That's just kind of a funny thing to say.
It's been around for a very long time. These are not hot takes. These are like very old, archaic
But he is in the top 10, right?
Because he goes really hard and he gets a lot of attention for it. And then there are these men, sadly, who listen to you who I think are lonely. And I love men. I'm not like a man-hating woman.
Oh, man. Jay just checked again. It's a fan account. Dude, that's actually pretty smart on their view. You know what I mean? Because you read that and you don't think to check a fan account. You think, okay, this is a call to action. How cool. It immediately puts you into action. I should actually change my entire Twitter account to be a fake podcast account, like Sam Hyde looking for new guests. And you just change the name of the account, and everyone's like, what the hell? And then after you field all of the activity and interaction, you change your account back to MadeByJimbob. You're like, what are you guys talking about? Jimbob, how'd you get all those all that new engagement? I don't know.
And I love men.
No, I
and
didn't.
I think that a
I
lot of
didn't.
men have been left
You
behind
are.
in a lot of ways, and I understand that. But I don't think that blaming all of your problems, if you do blame all your problems on women, then that could be the reason why you don't have one.
Who does she sound like? She sounds like someone very specific. I can't think of it.
There's another group of people that Myron blames his problems on, and it's not women.
Well, I want to
true.
let Myron respond, but I guess I want to pose this question. What is the bigger threat, feminism or misogyny? What's worse for society?
So when I say feminism, I feel like things like I have the right to vote. I have a job. I'm a
Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have boots. I have a car.
participating member of society, which is different than hating men. So it kind of depends how you
Well, do you
define-
hate women, Myron? I'm not just more curious.
Sometimes. Actually, most of no, I'm just kidding. Look, the reality is that when it comes to feminism, etc., women are stupid. Let's be honest about this. And the reason why, right? It's not just, and she said it herself, misogyny isn't something new. She's right. In ancient China, to the Middle East, to Eastern Europe, everybody knew that women are so we need to make them second-class citizens. So that's why they don't have the right to vote and do a lot of stuff. And then now what?
I mean, rhetorically, that's kind of like a funny jab, and you might get some people like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of funny." It's like a stand-up. A stand-up could get away with this, but there's actually a reasonable approach to this. Instead of stupid, you say they are more prone to make choices emotionally. You could say that, and you'll still get the same amount of people behind you agreeing that, like, that men and women have different natures. There are exceptions on each side, of course, but generally speaking, men and women are different natures, and it's actually a good thing. It's a good trait that women are emotional, and that's where some of this gets misled. Is that you could hold that women have a nature, and how they express that nature could be used for good. So the nature itself isn't bad. Saying that they're stupid is kind of like ostracizing them, and you're not actually guiding them to what the thing is you're calling stupid is probably along the lines with something like they think emotionally. They think in terms of like fairness, and they vote based on this view, and care and safety and all of this. This is actually from their good nature. There's actually a good nature in them. Now, the task for someone like Myron or anyone who's in this red pill sphere is a type of conversion, which is to say, if women are using their nature and it's being misdirected inside some political or economic sphere, individualism, pursuit of material gains, becoming CEOs, and all this boss babe stuff. If it's a misappropriation and a misdirection of their nature, you can actually help guide their proper nature to the best place it could be, which is ultimately bringing and rearing children and supporting the husband. It's not like the husband just goes without the wife and says, "Oh, I don't care. Either way, it's good for me." No. The husband wants the wife. The husband, that's a part of a unified body, one flesh. Okay, so this is why the red pill sphere fails. Without Christianity, specifically Orthodox Christianity, it fails because all the rhetoric plays, and you can get a couple nods and a couple laughs and a couple cheers and high fives from the men. It's actually counterproductive. It's counterproductive. Spend $10. Misogynistic adjective. Strongly prejudiced against women. Is there a word for mildly prejudiced against? Mildly? Yeah, what's the mild?
What an eloquent
I'll
argument.
take a mild,
I'm never
sir.
gonna come up with
She didn't
something
even
that
let me finish. She's
intelligent
acting like a
as
woman
a
right now.
stupid
Holy
woman.
crap. I let her speak, and now she won't let me speak. So it's interesting to me how she said, "Oh yeah, this isn't something new." Yeah, you're right.
Farmer wants a wife. Isn't that a Neil Young song? Man needs a maid. A man heard The Weeknd is covering that, doing a remix of that. Now I understand why we used to lock women in castles. They can't be left to their own devices. Extanglia, $2. Myron should change his first name to Material. Material Gains. That's really good, Extanglia.
Right, everyone from
Nicely done. That almost deserves a close-up. Nicely done.
ancient times knew that women need to make them second-class citizens. Here's the craziest part. They lived in other ends of the world.
What's Weekend? Oh, The Weekend. I was trying to do a fish out of water joke where it's like, can you imagine The Weekend? I forgot what they sang. A couple of catchy songs. But they just did a Neil Young cover out of nowhere.
And they still realize the Asian dudes, ling bing ding, all the way to the...
Myron isn't just materialistic, though, LOL. I think he's mostly materialistic. Like mostly. Like it's like win, get paid, get land, get real estate, be awesome, be fit. So I mean, what? Boo, Jimbob, you listen to... I don't listen to The Weeknd, Chris. I don't listen to The Weeknd.
The fucking Mohammeds in the Middle East, to the Eastern Europeans of Slav.
Isn't he a Muslim? I don't even know if he's a Muslim, honestly.
They all knew, damn, women are stupid. We need to go ahead and put them in the kitchen. Now they're out the kitchen, and what's going on? Society is crumbling.
Which civilization of all the ones that you listed do you like the most? Do you like modern America, or do you like Saudi Arabia, or do you like...
Myron is mostly... Okay, yeah, we'll use the mild and mostly thing again.
Ancient Japan. Which one do you like the most?
Well, look, I like any society that has women under control, and right now we don't, which is why shit is fucked up.
So why don't you move to Saudi Arabia? They don't have the right to vote. They can barely drive. Like what?
It's a great place.
Do you want Sharia law? No,
that's
Myron.
true. They can drive now. They can drive.
They can drive, and that's bad.
Wait, are you? But be honest.
So you think that Saudi Arabia is a better country than America?
When it comes to handling women, yes. Yes, when it comes to handling
just overall,
women, yes.
don't change the question.
And
don't run away
crime
from
is
it.
less in Saudi
Do you
Arabia,
think?
though.
Well, they have less crime.
I mean, the question itself assumes, which is kind of a misstep for Myron Gaines, is because he's making a universal statement that that it's true that X, in this case, feminism, causes Y. Y is the destruction of society or whatever. Look at how it is, feminism. Now, you can make that argument, but obviously you're going to have to argue from a much larger, nuanced paradigm, right? This is why I'll keep bringing it back to a paradigm level critique of society itself. You need to include all of it because you're making epistemic claims, you're making metaphysical claims, and you're making ethical claims all at the same time. So this is why it runs out of steam, is because now Myron's caught in he's reducing it to feminism and bad society, and then she can look at it and say, okay, if you're saying X, feminism causes Y, bad society, a place that doesn't have feminism, is it a better society? And she can do a type of at least it looks like some sort of refutation or contradiction.
Crime.
You were talking about these global things about how when women are oppressed, that's been the societal trend. And so I asked you, modern America decided, along with a whole bunch of Western democracies, and I think you like Western civilization, that's a bad idea. And so the question is, why is America so great if Saudi Arabia's got this one thing so well to, what?
I'll tell you why, because you can't look at it through the lens of just feminism. Here's why. You can't just say something's bad. You have to posit something. You cannot be a red pill Protestant. You guys seeing the similarities here? Shout out to my Protestants in the chat. The similarity is this. Not that, not that, not that, not that. Okay. Well, now you're stuck in a trap because now you have to actually advocate for a society or some expression of your sentiment, in this case, Saudi Arabia. And you have to say, well, that must be necessarily partially good because of this thing or whatever, but you're taking a part. You're taking one part of something. And now because you've committed to anti-feminism, you're stuck advocating for any position or any society that has at least the sentiment of anti-feminism, and that's a mistake. It's a mistake. You have to be able to say, not that, but this. Okay, not that, but this. I'm giving you I'm giving you something instead. Well, the red pill has nothing instead. They can't draw from any paradigm if it's not Christianity. And if it is Christianity they draw from, they're going to convert from red pill to white pill. And it's going to change their fundamental view of these things a little bit.
Shouldn't that be the great
Well,
country?
you could be better in different ways, right? Like
So Muslim theocracies got it.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh.
What
No,
I'm saying
he didn't
is-
say that either.
Here's the problem, right? When you have women having too much power, it creates a lot of issues because women are communitarian by nature, right? They don't know what the fuck they want to do. They can't even decide what they want to eat, let alone pick their own partners. That's why the divorce rates are through the fucking
Wait,
roof.
time out.
That's
You
why
guys
marriage
admit
is
it's
down in
hard
the
for women to
dumpster.
choose what to eat, though, Kat. Is that true? Can we at least
know?
agree on
Well,
that?
yes, but it also could be all this
Justin says this is sarcastic, $5. You just don't understand Myron like I do. He moved the Overton window. He's willing to take the pitchforks and the news.
nicotine gum I'm always chewing.
Okay,
I'm never that hungry.
that is typically my girlfriend. It is hard for women to choose where to eat. I think you're 100% right about that.
Sure, but we also are like negating the fact that like some of the biggest breakthroughs in ecology science come from the humanitarian approach that women have. You know, DNA was discovered by women. So like the issue is that
Oh, boy.
women are decently valuable.
DNA was discovered by women? I thought Francis Crick and the other dude discovered DNA. What? Does she think Francis in this case is a female name or something? This is all revisionism. It's like this is the standpoint theory that Rachel always talks about. It's like if I can find one person who helped and documented something in a folder for a development or discovery, then they discovered it. Watson, I thought it was Watson and Crick.
But when we talk about women being stupid, men are stupid all the time too. Men are the like morons that are ending up in fucking jail all the time because they can't like stop
Wait,
punching
not
shit.
to, you made a good point. I think. Wait.
Is Frederick Meischer a woman? DNA was first identified by Swiss chemist Friedrich Meischer.
Yeah, they were trying to take credit
stole
for
it
our stuff.
from?
They also
Look at
say,
that.
well,
Who stole it? Yeah, now it's a claim that he's the unbelievable. I'm so glad they looked that up because you got to do that with these people, and I'm not always good at that. In live real time, having it in my head the correction, the wealth of information you need to do this in real time.
they were trying to say Wi-Fi was made by women. No, it wasn't. It was made by men as well. Women don't invent anything. They don't contribute to anything besides, to be honest, the only real value women have is reproductive
I can
value.
do
Average redhead, $5. Every time I see Not So Bright, I laugh because I remember how you called her a disheveled in the stream. She is always disheveled. It's definitely one of my favorite insults. You disheveled.
you more to the
I think I called her a breakfast sausage.
economy than you do, Myron, just objectively.
Wait. I want to say I'm on Kat and not so right side though. That don't you think women are equally valuable to society though? You don't think so?
Dude, if you remove sex and reproduction, they provide almost nothing.
Yeah, but those are.
Venom
We
guns.
wouldn't have life without those things.
Sure.
So don't
sure. But I want to be clear about this.
Field?
We don't need them. Here's the thing. Women need us. We don't need them. We need them.
No, you need them for reproduction. I mean, that's a contradiction. You need women for society. Women need men to defend society. You need women to produce society. Say, okay? Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. It's a whole body operation. You can't take this this is sort of lame, honestly. This is the L take. It's like, oh, you don't need, yes, you do. You need women. That's part of the persuasive element against feminism is you want to negate feminism while maintaining the value of women and their necessity. You want to uplift women. You want to uplift them. You don't want to tear them down. You want to tear down the ideology. You don't want to tear down women. This is the distinction here. This is an L take. No. He's talking about the workforce. Yeah, but the thing is, you still need women in society. We're talking about society. He didn't say workforce, but maybe he's going to clarify. But you need women in society. Society is still composed of homes, right? And so for men to be in the workforce, you need women to be at home. So you still need women. You can't say only men in the workforce, but you but while simultaneously saying you don't need women. You need women at home. You actually need them.
Them to propagate
They have our
society for the
babies,
next
dude.
generation. That's what my point. I said outside of reproduction. So, like, if we
No, not true, Myron. Outside of reproduction, what happens after reproduction, Myron? Well, you have to raise the children. So no is an L take. This is like some stupid like, oh, they reproduce and now they've, fulfilled their role. No, you need them as mothers, dude. Mothering is essential. You would know this if you had kids and you married a good woman like MadeByJimbob. You would see the value the woman brings to the house, even without a child. They bring value to the house. They keep order. They keep the place that you are in clean and sharp so that your mind is clean and sharp. There's a beautification, just like beautification in the church. Women beautify. Okay? This is such a low tier take, right? Oh, they just reproduce and then they're good. No, dude, stop. They're mothers. Stop it.
want to have kids, yes, we need them, but they need us for everything. So the reality is men bring far more value to society than women do. The only real value they provide is reproductive value. Because let's be honest here.
No,
you guys
that's
don't
not
give a fuck about what they got to say. You guys are here
That's not true.
for us. Nobody cares about
Also, that's not true even in a relationship. Okay, I know the men don't want to admit this, right? The the big men who never want to admit, that their wives, being the neck, can tug the head in a certain direction, right? Where we see something, right? There's insight. There's a sort of, what do you call it? Like the king's hand kind of element where you do consider the wife's position. You ultimately have to make the decision on your own, but it's not like you don't consider the input. You consider it. They're on your side. They want you to win. They want you to avoid catastrophe. They might see something that you don't see. Doesn't mean they're equal in the roles or the hierarchy. And this is this kind of like unnuanced position of it's like man is a man and he's a man in the house and you just blah 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 blah. Wife is talking blah blah blah. It's so stupid, dude. What are you talking about? You still take consideration what your wife says. You still take it. What the hell?
about what women got to say. They're the suckiest podcasters. Female YouTubers suck. Nobody gives a fuck about their opinion. We're just there for the
I can keep my home clean and sharp on my own. Women move the furniture and everything around, do things without planning. Well, great job. The question wasn't whether or not atheist or any one of us could, on our own, do all of that. But the thing is, if you're a father and your priority is for income, speaking of income, now's the time to super chat. If the father is providing, protecting, and managing some other things, right, and the woman has a priority to manage the home, it doesn't follow that the man isn't capable of doing it. That's not the argument, okay? It's like the old argument where it's like, I saw a woman shoot a gun once.
Isn't
Let's be honest.
one of some of the largest podcasts, all Candace Owens, Call Her Daddy, like some of the largest podcasts are female run.
To be fair,
Candace Owens is an
wait.
exception.
It doesn't matter if you don't like them. The point is that they're highly successful. So maybe you guys don't like to listen to women, but that doesn't mean that broader society doesn't. For example, take women out of the workforce. You've nuked your economy overnight. It's done.
Who said anything overnight, dumb butthead? What?
They contribute, even if we're...
Not really. That's actually not the case. Like, if you did anything overnight, you'd nuke everything. What are you talking about? This is such a stupid example. If you just ripped out some integral part of a broken system that's broken, then it dies. Yeah, well, that's true for a lot of things. That's like saying, like, if you turned off the internet and electric overnight, you'd have a catastrophe. Yeah, great. Good thinking. Good thinking. That's not what we're talking about. You know what would happen if you progressively removed women from the workforce? and prioritize children, you'd have more people in society that you didn't need immigration for. Okay, that's a good thing. What would you also do progressively? You would eventually get women out of the workforce, and the payment for jobs would increase for the men who are left in the workforce. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's a good thing. No one's saying do anything overnight. You silly rock star. You silly little Steven Tyler impersonator. Why does she look like she just walked out of the car wash? Every time.
We're being mild and conservative. 30%,
Well, that'd be
probably
good
around
if-
50%.
The Thanos finger snap argument, right?
That'd be good for the airline pilot industry, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that save us a lot?
I hope I never, and Megan shared this with me. I hope we never walk on a plane ever again, and the woman pilot greets us at the plane and says, "Tap the plane for good luck. I'm your main first chair pilot." Did I tell you guys about that? Yeah, for those of you who didn't know. On my way back from North Carolina, that's what happened. We walked through the corridor to get on the plane, and up walks this woman in the pilot, and I said, "Oh my gosh, it's finally happening, you guys. I'm going to die in a plane crash." And it just didn't help. The fact that she appealed to emotion and luck. You never want a head pilot, first chair pilot, to look at people who are about to get into the tube in the air. And she says, "Tap the plane for good luck." Hey, lady, I actually don't want luck involved. I want your skill, confidence, leadership. You freak. Never tell a person who's about to get on a flight, if you're the captain, that you're relying on luck at all. And that's exactly what a woman would do. They wouldn't even see that it would be a problem mentally for anyone to be like, "Oh, tap the heart for good luck." Oh yeah. I just can't wait to look at all the things I can do for luck in this flight. No, I want a Rick Moranis looking guy with glasses and silvery hair. You know what I mean? I want him all curmudgeon-y and focused. He doesn't even want to talk. He doesn't even want to talk to you peasants. That's the kind of pilot I want. Luck.
I don't know. It seems like there's a lot more going on with the airline pilot industry than just women.
But women are usually taking social jobs like teachers and nurses and stuff like that.
Yeah, we need those jobs.
We do.
No, it's not just that we need them, lady. It's because women, their nature actually is geared toward those jobs. So you can't have equality. You already demonstrated that if you open the floodgates for choice, it showcases that there's a disparity of the choice. Why is there a disparity of choice? Because of the nature of men and women being different.
But we need petroleum engineers more.
I would disagree. We need to raise our children. I would like literate children.
Public schools.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
Public schools are shit.
But we should still be teaching our kids. We want our kids to be literate.
I agree. And I think
we need
women are
nurses,
great teachers. when it
right? Like
comes to,
every
basic
one of
knowledge
you
stuff.
has been to a hospital, and you're probably super grateful that there's an entire health industry oriented at making sure that your ass doesn't die.
Why are you crying?
Especially a lot of your fat asses don't die.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Who's arguing? How is that an argument? Wow, there are women nurses. Amazing. Well, there are women nurses, and they're women, and they also nurse. So that's good that they're nurses. Yeah. That's correct. Dude, that's the scariest plane ride ever. Yeah, I was scared. Now, I'm glad I overcame the fear, because Megan and I were pretty confident we were going to die. But then I was like, okay, well, I did remember my pilot friend telling me you're in a 50-50 general 50-50 situation, where he told me in his many years of being a pilot, first chair pilot, he said that for some reason in his experience, women pilots, they're either really good or really bad. And so I was just gearing on, okay, well, hopefully this is one of the really good pilots, one of the anomalies.
I can feel the tension.
I was just going to say.
Guys, real quick, though, I do want to say thank you guys for being here. Give yourselves a round of applause, seriously. And this is our third time doing it here. And I have to say that.
One shot, $5. Did the plane have a live laugh, live, laugh, love? Yeah, basically. You know what I found interesting? During the plane ride, there was a male steward, I guess you call him, and he did many of the announcements that the pilot would often do. And I thought that was a smart choice because mentally you want to hear the assurance of a man in the speaker. You know what I mean? You want to hear that all, ladies and gentlemen, we're taking off soon. Safe flight, 2 hours and 45 minutes. And sometimes you don't even make out what they're saying, but you just can make out that it's a man's voice and you're like, all right, father's here. Father's here. Father's here. What you don't want to hear is, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sitting down. I'm your head captain. We're going to fly 3 hours and 45 minutes. With any luck, we'll be landing in, with enough luck, we'll be landing in St. Louis on time, hopefully. Hopefully I don't panic during this because my co-pilot is a 19-year-old student. Tap on your friend's seat for good luck and wish you all good life if it doesn't work out.
That last week was a little tense with Michael Malice, but you can feel the tension up here. I kind of like this debate, and we want to encourage you guys to all come up, whatever you guys, whether you have a question or a debate topic, it's no holds barred.
Now's the time to take a selfie. Yeah, on a selfie. Now's the time to take a selfie before you turn the phone on. Yeah.
Or just say whatever you want to say. And we're going to do that here in a second. But, Tim, I mean, I'm liking this, the energy up here. It's a little different this week.
There's an interesting split between the civics of it and the dating element of it. So you were saying that...
And the morality.
God bless you, Jimbob and MadeByJimbob. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Sure. What's the morality argument?
I think that, feminism is morally good.
Dirk Jensen, you guys are full of hate in your heart. What is that? What's the meaning of that from a Gnostic New Age view, Dirk Jensen? You don't even have a standard for love to know what hate is. And yes, if we go back in time and redefine hate as a rejection, yeah, we reject insanity. And you know what, Dirk? I hate New Ageism. In a sense, I hate you. And what do I mean by that? I reject you. I separate you from the truth, Dirk. Now you're going to keep crying about it, you little New Ager? Why don't you light some sort of candle and blow it into the wind? Why don't you talk to a tree? Why don't you hold a rock and say, I am you and you are me? Dirk. Why don't you get one of your extra long sweaters that you can't tell is a shawl or a sweater? Why don't you put that on with your little Tivas? Why don't you go walk around your kitchen doing breath work for us? Yes, we hate it. New Age. You disgust me.
What does that mean?
I think...
what does morally good mean?
In a Christian Aristotelian kind of way.
That's right.
Oh, in an Aristotelian... A Christian Aristotelian? She really is a dumbass.
All of our Western systems absolutely value things
let me ask this.
Oh, cool. Isn't all Tim has to say back a question and say, oh, interesting, not so you're a tard. Is Christianity a patriarchy or egalitarian?
Real quick, just define feminism.
Sure. Feminism is, here, I always write it down so I can always cite it. Feminism, the empowerment of women's agency and the promotion of femininity.
Wow. Can you get any more nebulous?
What is femininity?
Is literally, the definition is a bumper sticker.
Femininity.
You could have asked, what is empowerment? That's actually the important thing, which I asked her during our debate. Did I get an answer? No. Not a single answer. She says, what's feminine? Fair enough, femininity, but really empowerment is where you want to go.
It would be the emergent things that we see. Nurturance, typically empathy and kindness, all the things that we typically see in a Western society that would go, yeah, that's feminine by and large. Understanding, these sorts of things.
Things that identify as feminine as femininity?
That's a gender argument.
Typically, yeah.
Basically.
What's masculine?
She got even Tim Pool just wrecked her.
What's masculinity? The things that we
Hot
kind
take,
of
I don't think
identify with
women have
men.
empathy.
Bears, drinking big
I don't
beers.
think-
Well, it's like things like bravery
Chopping
and
lumber.
strength, right? It's things like being like protective, right? These are the things that we like see in all of our stories as masculine or feminine.
Oh, in our stories.
Were you guys going to get your chance? Everybody shut the fuck up.
Is femininity then related to like nurturing,
Yeah,
having babies?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's good.
Hot take. I think women actually lack empathy. Contrary to them saying that they have empathy, I think women have sympathy.
Oh, this is, you know what? This is not a good segment. You could have kept her there, dude. They could have just completely wrecked her. What's femininity? What's empowerment? Tell me what empowerment is. I asked this woman during our whatever debate something crucial. I just said, isn't it possible that empowerment of femininity could look like basically a Christian or even a Muslim theocracy? And she said, yeah, I guess that could be the case. So it's like there's no standard, just like secularism. Like there's no right or wrong secularism. You can't be wrong about it because it's arbitrary. Just like in this case, you can't be wrong about what empowerment is or femininity is. She has no standard for it.
They can feel sorry and compassion for sure. But when it comes to empathy,
Dirk Jensen is healing energy. You don't even have access to what spiritual healing is, Dirk.
especially to the masculine experience, they don't have it at all. I would argue most women don't know what men want. They don't know what men are interested in. They don't know what it takes to keep a man around, which is why most girls can't even stay in a relationship long term or get married. And let's be honest here, the reason why they're not empathetic is because there's no need to be empathetic because men approach them. Since men approach them and they do the courting and they have to do everything up front, especially at the beginning, a lot of women aren't empathetic.
I mean, who the hell cares about empathy anyway? I don't even take empathy seriously. Atheists always bring up empathy. Empathy is like, there's a difference between compassion and empathy. Empathy is largely an involuntary signal that you get as an experience that's recalling a past experience of yours, which you're projecting onto the thing you're looking at. So you look at someone crying, you might be right about their feelings, but you might be wrong. But the thing you're drawing from is your existing prior knowledge of what that looks like to you. And you, oh, they're sad, something's wrong here or whatever. You might be right. But empathy doesn't tell you what you ought to do anyway. So I'm actually pretty tired of the whole, well, empathy, you have empathy. Empathy doesn't tell us anything objectively. It tells us a past experience that you might be right about, a present.
Empathetic to the masculine experience because they don't have to be. Versus men, we have to be empathetic to women. Otherwise, we don't get laid.
Yeah, you're
There's a
very
burden of performance
empathetic
on
to
us.
women.
No, well, here's the thing. I understand you guys, which is why I don't respect you. So that's why, because the reality is, if you understand women, there's no way you can respect them as an equal because they're inferior in almost every way.
Well, in what
what
ways?
does that mean in
I
fact?
just
in
don't
what ways?
understand why you would say that.
Corum says, not sure if that's true. What's not true? You got to use full sentences. I say a lot of stuff, Corum. So please help me and say, I'm not sure XYZ is true.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
Because I don't know if you're talking to me or responding to someone in the chat or whatnot. I need to follow.
Here's the thing. You can either respect them as an equal, right? Or you don't respect. Like, my thing is, I understand women. So since, therefore, I understand women, I cannot respect you guys as equals because you guys have a completely different
She's a bagel, right? She's full bagel.
worldview. You guys are inferior in almost everything that matters.
Like in
And
what? Like what? Name
Yeah,
the
you
things
keep
You
that
guys
saying
are
that
weaker,
over, I'm
dumber,
stupid, blah,
smaller,
blah, blah. I'm
like,
bored.
weaker,
like,
dumber,
yeah, literally, like,
less
yeah.
fit, less strong.
well,
but
yeah,
by these
you guys are
standards,
inferior.
your co-host is inferior to you in every.
Yeah, you can have inferior men too. We're not talking about particulars. We're talking about generalities. Happy Monday to you. Thank you for the super chat.
Every way, because he's weaker, he doesn't
he's still
exercise
superior
as
to
much.
you.
He's
So
not as strong.
that's my point.
That's not what. Well, the issue is. Well, the
He's still
issue is.
superior to you, though.
Well, the issue is on the thing. Well, actually, not really. I think I'm actually fitter than Fresh. He's stronger than me, but I think I'm literally fitter than him. And also, when it comes to
You are not fitter than him.
debates, I tend to
What are you talking about? You're not fitter than him.
do better than him in debates. All the things that you tend to value are the things that he's
What? Where did she get this from? What is she talking about?
inferior. The issue is, hold on, just so it's clear.
Can you open a pickle jar?
I don't think that Fresh is inferior
What?
because I don't think that only these things matter to the
She's
value.
a donut hole. I had her pinned as a garbage sausage, but now I'm Crucible Crusader. I think you're right. She might be a donut hole.
Of a person. When we talk about things like the Western civilization tradition, if you guys
Oh, the other one's a donut hole because I asked if she's a bagel.
actually care about the American
The other one's a bagel. This one's a donut.
project and what this means. We have to
Hello,
get
Rachel.
real about the things that are the precepts of
Oh, it's just so infuriating. If this was, okay, couldn't you imagine being the husband? You're try to have a conversation in the kitchen, and you already agreed that this is a diplomacy, like this is some sort of like equal like something. And I mean, her husband probably doesn't ever get to be like, just stop it.
of what we believe in. This is things like Christian theology and
Christian theology, says the Orthodox Protestant who takes an Aristotelian view on the good.
Aristotelian thinking.
An Aristotelian.
And in these precepts, everyone assumes that there is going to be a variety of ways in which people are beneficial, but we don't typically give inferior or superior because we recognize, for example, that while fresh
Throw the eggs. Throw eggs at her. Oh, I want to throw an egg. I just want to do a knuckleball ostrich egg throw. Oh, it's so bad, dude. LOL, Dirk says, Jimbob, what's your basis of spirituality? I reject that spirituality absent Christianity has any meaning. Look, I'll put it this way. Dirk here thinks that religion, anything that's organized like that, that's called the church, is a constrained fishbowl in the ocean, and you're a fish in there, right? And he looks at all of the people who are holding to holy tradition and a church body that's exclusive, and they say, oh, you're trapping yourself. I'm Dirk. You're trapping yourself, bro. Bro, you're trapping yourself in the fish tank. Why don't you break the fish tank, bro, and be in the ocean? Well, Dirk, if spirituality is the ocean, then you have no distinctions. You just have a giant ocean of unrelated things, and you can't tell me where one thing begins and one ends. It's monism, okay? So you asking me, what's your basis of spirituality? You're asking someone, what does it mean to be spiritual? What is spirit itself as a distinction? Well, inside of Orthodoxy, that has a specific referent, right? There's a specific paradigm inside of Orthodoxy. You have the nous, you have your mind, you have your soul. You have the inherited state of the fallen world, which we're subject to. You have sin, right? You have to heal. You have a hospital. Dirk, you have none of these things, dude. You have some crystals that you probably shove up your ass. You got nothing. You burn some sage. It's meaningless. You don't even have a cohesive set of principles and traditions you could even teach people that are right and wrong. You just have it's just open-ended. Open-ended. Oh, that could be spiritual, and that could be spiritual, and that could be... By the way, from a spirituality New Age perspective, you couldn't even say that strict orthodoxy in its practices is not spiritual. You'd have to include it in your monistic jibber-jabber. It's just nonsense, dude. You just need a wedgie. You need to be thrown into a locker, dude. You don't have enough people in your life pushing back on you.
Fresh is not as strong as a debater as you. He's so good at networking. He's really personable. He's really good at like connecting people, and you value that. Whereas women are strong at other things. We don't have to be equal. We just need to be valuable.
But isn't there like you said Christian?
You know how
you
no
said
one
Christian
laughed
theology?
because that's like the oldest joke that's ever been told. Women make sandwiches. You're stupid. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I want a sandwich. Megan, I want a sandwich when I finish. Oh, I want a sandwich.
It's like I'm bored already.
All right. Again, I'm still trying to figure out why she's talking. This is not a kitchen. I don't know what's going
There
on
it
right
is
now.
again.
It's the same
Like,
joke.
There it is
I mean,
again.
it is kind of true. It's kind of played out.
Crazy.
I think it's great when you talk, though, because a lot of times people say that there's no need for feminism anymore. And then people hear you talk, and you're saying that, you know, women should all be owned by men and all these other things that you say. And people might think differently because you're going to be...
It's a solid joke. Yeah, it works once, Corn. It's a solid... You can use it. It's like you can... You get one shot, though, at that one. Like, in the same setting, you get one shot. Like, I tell jokes over and over again. And if I tell the same one in the same sitting, you guys can throw metaphoric eggs at me. So
A lot different new audience is going to see you thanks to me being on this panel. You're welcome, by the way.
Who are you?
well, what is that raspy voice, by the way? What is
Again,
it?
I don't even know who is this female? I don't even know. Like,
She's the co-host of the highest rated show.
oh, really? Okay. Well, no one watches.
top-rated
No one
late
watches
night show.
mainstream media anymore anyway, so that's
What is she on Fox or something?
fine.
Would you actually think women should be owned, Myron? As she said, you believe that?
I mean, it's kind of fun.
Oh man, I need to trim my beard. This is getting homeless level. I feel like the next time we do the dumpster, I'm gonna be the guy in the. Hey, can we do that? Hello, listener, if you're awake. Next time we do the garbage skit on Ortho Thugs, can I be the garbage guy and you could be the citizen?
Funny, she's over here all this blah blah, but she's married, which is a male-led institution, which is interesting to me. So it's like she's buying into it, even though she's trying to sit here and be like, I'm
Ooh,
kind
thunder.
of like I'm a feminist, but at the same time I'm married. Blah blah blah. It's like pick one, man. You
What do you-
serve
what do you
under a
mean?
man, so it's like I don't even know why she's talking. So
I serve under a man.
yeah, you're married to a guy, which marriage in itself is a male-led institution.
See, not my marriage.
Oh,
Yeah, we're
God.
equal.
So you wear the
partners.
pants in your.
We're equal partners in my marriage. I know that's crazy. That, but it
The
actually
concept of
works well.
equality
We're
is a
very
lie. It's not
happy.
true.
That's true. Equality's a lie. Even if you thought you were equal, even if you're in one of those relationships that was like non-traditional, but you were like, well, we're equals. The moment you have a disagreement, someone has to win. So what do you guys flip a coin? So your entire family or your entire partnership, if you call it that, your marriage is dictated by a flip of the coin. Why? Because there's no one ultimately the guarantor, the one who's leading the charge, who actually ultimately gets blamed in a sense, is responsible ultimately. You just have a flip of the coin. Well, hey, you guys coming down? You guys gonna come down to the Keys, hang out with us? Well, I have to. My wife is actually in charge this month of everything. You're gonna have to check with her because she's in charge of everything this week or this month. Everything.
One is always
We're gonna flip. We flipped a coin. She got October.
the leader. Who's the
I actually wanted October. I even said, honey, I really want October. And you know what she said to me? She said, the coin decided.
leader in your relationship? Who's the
Should we homeschool or not? I don't know. I'm for the charter school. I like it. It's classical, homeschool is good too. I don't know. Who's going to decide? Let's get the coin, honey. Honey, let's get the coin. I ordered a new one.
decision maker? You or him?
Depends on the thing.
This doesn't
Who
make,
is
this
who is-
doesn't make one
who is the
person more or
main
less
leader in the
morally
relationship?
valuable.
You or him?
No one said morally valuable, you little wicked witch. You little wicked witch of the Western dumpster.
It depends on the thing. We are
You little sausage. You little dumpster sausage.
equal partners. We've been through a shit ton together.
crap.
A lot of stuff together, especially recently. And I love him very much. He loves me very much. And I would never have a child with somebody who didn't see me as a person. I
What?
see a lot of posts on
They're kind of proving Myron's point here. Like, she's already triggered in her emotions, and whatever Myron said, what she got was, I'm not a person. Which is an emotional experience that she's having. She actually experienced words as I'm not a person. Now, this is the difference. Again, this is actually to Myron's point. There's nothing you could say to Myron in this context right now that wasn't explicitly "you're not a person," that he would ever experience the words as "I'm not a person." Like, imagine he came back and he was like, "You're just looking at me, you're not seeing men as a person. You're just not seeing us as a person." It's like so stupid. That's why he's looking up. Like, he's in the right now. He's just like, oh man, she's actually experiencing emotions right now and talking from that. Jimbob, you shouldn't shave. It's bad for Orthodox Christian man to shave. Well, I'll trim. I'll never shave because Megan, I tried to shave and get a mustache, and I like the mustache. It's fun for me. I could do more characters with just a mustache, but she saw me as a stranger in her bed. You know what I mean? She saw me as a stranger when I just had the mustache. She was like, no. you know? So that was a lot of, yeah, didn't like that.
On the internet about like the fertility problem and why aren't women having kids, and you look at the comments and you see why maybe women don't want to have kids with it ain't the women that are the problem a lot of the times. There's a lot of problems with talking about women, why don't women want to have kids, and not enough talk about why men aren't becoming in some.
You don't bring your hair with you when you die. Wow, deep takes from atheist. Wow, atheist, you're deep.
Some cases the kind of partners that women would want to have a child with. I did not meet someone I'd want to have a child with until I met my husband when I was 30
Still
years
trying
old.
to figure out who the leader is here.
But
nothing gets done by a committee.
Because not
Nothing gets done by a committee.
the way you
I want to
do,
bring it back to. I
thankfully.
want to bring it back to feminism because
Yeah, Rachel says, ew, cat timph. Yeah, why aren't... I feel like Rachel needs to go up against this lady.
I want to answer the question.
I think feminism is.
Honestly, I prefer in feminist debates, I actually prefer a woman who's critiquing feminism against a woman who's pro-feminism. I know that's just more women talking, so it's kind of a weird take. But the reason I like it is because it removes the kind of like the thing that's being assumed to be different between men and women. Like, it removes that and makes it like, okay, this is an even battle here. Here's what you call an even battle, right? Because you're not actually, because you're arguing for things aren't equal. But if it's from things that are two unequal positions, then it's kind of like, it's like embedded in the debate. Does that make sense?
Is a key component.
I just think that women debating, honestly, they should be forced to have like a voice changer, which the tech is already there. So if you had women debating, but you had them talking in a microphone that in real time just changed their voice, like, you would get a lot more people probably watching and listening. That's my experience.
Component in relationship breakdown. There was a story several years ago where in New York, women in their 30s could not find men who made as much or more than they did. Mm-hmm. And it was like a shock to the system. All these writers, these are female writers for various opinion outlets saying, why can't we find good men? And it's, because they weren't attracted to guys who made less.
Very feminist of you. Yeah, that's my feminism. Women should debate other women as long as they have a male voice changer.
And they don't want to be with younger guys. So the guys who are the same age as them, who made $50,000 a year.
Why is blackface wrong, but black voice isn't? Isn't a voice also some sort of like, what would you call it? An immutable characteristic of a body? Like, because your voice is dictated by your throat and your biology and everything. So I just don't understand why you can't do blackface, but you can do black voice.
Here we're like
both physical categories, both derivative of biology.
I can date a 24-year-old woman, somebody who wants to have a family and is younger. So guys are aiming for younger women, but women are being told to get jobs and have careers. But you mentioned guys aren't stepping up. I think this creates an inverse problem where for young men, they're either struggling to date because younger women can date older guys through dating apps, or women, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? If you know what I mean.
Like, you can have sex without, like, commitment.
These guys who are young are like, I don't need a job, I don't need status, because if I go to the club and spend $15 on booze, I get laid.
In the club.
Yeah, I mean,
Jason says, stop, Jimbob. That will be the next thing they attack. Yeah, I'm giving them too many ideas.
and I agree. I just think that, like, this is like the trade-off of agency, right? Like, agency is one.
Oh, gosh, shut up. I just don't understand how this person gets invited anywhere. Aside from being a lol cow and being like, the takes are awful, I honestly don't understand. Thank you so much, Stephen Lake. Very generous. I think that's $50. Thank you so much. He says yes. Very generous of you. Thank you. W's in the chat for Stephen for a very generous tip today. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
one of the most important things that we can have, the ability to choose, right? Because if you don't have agency, you can't choose to do noble and good things. You can't choose to do bad things. And so I would agree that, like, when I look at the modern dating culture, first of all, the 24-year-old girls are not like, oh, I'm so ready to settle down and have kids.
Right.
They're like, these are the people you're calling whores half the time.
So actually, that might be changing. I don't know how to measure it, but there is a changing tide where people in general are kind of, and it's not just sex related. It's like people, younger generations are starting. I don't know. Have you guys seen this? When you guys go out, I don't know if you guys ever leave your house. I usually don't want to leave my house, but have you guys seen where younger generations are actually phoneless? And I'm not talking about very young, like they shouldn't have a phone yet. Like I'm talking about normal, like 20-year-olds who are not looking at their phones and they're doing stuff. I've seen this phenomenon start to emerge out there in the world. And it kind of ties into this because I think a new generation is sort of rejecting this sort of putrid degeneracy of just free sexuality everywhere, liberty, doing whacked out things, being gross. Like both young men and young women are going, wait a second, this isn't going to a good place. So,
right? And
I'm glad that's happening.
so
They used to be.
yeah,
People used to get married and have kids at 22.
Sure, but we also died at 55 around the same time.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
That is not correct.
Yeah.
We did have a lower life
that is,
We
that is
had
not
a
correct.
much shorter life
The shorter life
expectancy.
expectancy was due to the infant mortality rate. People actually who survived infancy would live for a very long time. But
no.
while people are lived expectancy,
That's actually mostly true. Yes, there are medical advancements for older age people where they extend the life. Yes, that's true. But when they look at mortality rate, there's the spike is actually for infant mortality. That's the spike. Where you're going to see the spike. It's not saying that the other aspect doesn't exist, but when you're looking at it from a statistical view, Tim Pool is right here.
No.
Tickle Bitty, $10. Thank you so much. That gets me halfway to the goal. Thank you so much, everybody, for contributing.
Men were
Well,
dying
life
in
is-
mines.
they're not at 55.
No, men were dying in mines, and women were also dying in childbirth.
And while life expectancy has increased by a few years recently,
A lot.
that isn't changing the fact that society used to be very different. Women but pre-feminism were focused on families, and the big social deal was who are you going steady with and who you're having a family with. I'm not saying society should be that way. But when that's gone and women start prioritizing what job am I going to have,
Yeah.
you're not going to have families at 22 like we used to anymore. And now we're in a fertility crisis and we've got no young people. Gen Alpha is only 40 million people. It is half the size of the millennials.
Sure. So to this, I would basically say,
I already have an answer to this.
I agree that there has been a lot of cons that have come with giving women agency. I think giving women agency is actually like a deontological good. Letting people choose.
It wasn't agency, dude. You're such an idiot. Women at the time could work. They didn't there wasn't a thing called agency where they said, okay, now you may do this. Do you not understand this, dummy? This is what's so frustrating about this lady. Every time she gets corrected on this, she just doubles down. Look at her blurred look. She looks into the void to find the talking point. She's going to I hope the words all come to me so I can just say the thing. No, what Tim is saying is the culture, the values changed. It wasn't suddenly agency was given to women and now they're feminists. No, the values change. How do we know this? When you look at the suffrage movement, the majority of women at the time were against the suffrage movement. They didn't want to vote. Why? Because it came with a whole new set of responsibility that they didn't want. They also knew that there was a moral aspect to it, to prioritizing the children and the home first and foremost for society's sake. It was a virtue against this other like materialistic road to wealth or personal gratitude, and happiness. This woman is such an idiot. She's literally rewriting the history and saying, no, it was the agency they gave women that allowed this. No, there's a cultural, almost engineered, someone like Jay Dyer could argue, and Rachel, who have a deeper sense of history, engineered movement toward a different goal, a different set of priorities altogether. That's a cultural phenomenon. That's a philosophical phenomenon. It's not an agency phenomenon. It's just so frustrating. Jason Cassell, 2,000 years ago, people would live under, until they were 70s if they didn't die from war, starvation. We haven't extended. Yeah, like even the, whatever you say, like, there's probably some like heart stuff maybe, or I don't even know the stats, but clearly the majority of the difference is mortality at a young age, not at an old age. Average redhead, $5. If I had to pick a candidate for who may be hiding Edgar the Bug, Men in Black cockroach mods, dude, it'd be not so. That's funny. Yeah, like her face just opens or her neck opens and the little thing comes out. That's funny.
Means that they have the choice to choose the noble things. This is
yeah. What's more noble, dummy? You think widening your eyes makes you right? What's more noble for society and for the greater good than being a mother? What's more noble?
Really, really important in Western society specifically.
Really?
This is the foundation of what we believe in the American project. And so
her talk, it just...
Yes, women back then didn't have as many choices. They couldn't own private property. They basically had to be married to a man to have any access or rights or power.
They couldn't have a credit card.
Yeah, and guess what they couldn't do also? They couldn't actually change the law. Don't you see a little bit of a philosophical problem here? They actually couldn't do it on their own. They needed the men to do it. It's a performative contradiction. You're like, we need to be equals. Hey, can you guys more powerful than us make us equals? Well, what kind of equal is that? That's not equal. That's like Matt Dillahunty putting a wig on his girlfriend or boyfriend and calling it a girlfriend, right? It's a fabricated fake equal. Vagine?
I can debate her while rolling around in holy cow poop and still not look as nappy as she does. Lol.
Thank you, Vagine, for fixing my phone with that super chat.
Card to the 80s.
Andrew is corrected on some. Yeah, she keeps getting corrected, which means this is some sort of project. That's all I can. People are this silly, yes. So, but I actually don't put it past the culture and the weird climate we're in that these people are like sought after and they're all given a general script and they're paid for it, because there's no way she's supporting herself, right? Like, I've seen her stats. There's no way she's supporting herself. So what is it? It's like, if they're corrected and debunked over and over and you just double down on them, I don't understand what's happening here.
Exactly, right? So women had...
Better times.
Women had less agency. Women had less agency. But I would argue that was a moral failing of society. And just because the outcomes right now might be worse, that doesn't necessarily mean that this is not something that we fundamentally value. We
value some condition that produces the worst outcomes. Does that make any sense to you all? We value the conditions that produce the worst outcomes.
Value in America giving people choice.
I hear that.
See, again, this is like, now this is something I would use against like Rob Noor. Shout out to Rob Noor. Thanks, Rob. Not So Erudite currently is taking, at least I don't know if Rob's position has changed, but this is exactly the argument Rob makes. So when it's presented that the sort of false allocation or the false allowance that men gave women historically from not being able to do certain things to doing it, giving them the allowance produced consequences that are horrific, not just the family, feminism, sexual degeneracy, but also voting patterns, right? A huge part of the argument against feminism from a libertarian perspective or even a general liberal perspective, general classical liberal perspective, is that women largely vote in favor of, ironically, larger authoritarian governments that violate autonomy. Isn't that the weirdest thing? That their argument for feminism is autonomy and choice, and yet they vote largely, totally trackable, largely in favor of policies that violate and actually minimize autonomy, minimize what you call liberty. Now, I'm not making an argument for liberty because I'm actually for minimizing liberty in certain instances. But that's why it's so messed up. Like they can't pick what they want. They're like, well, society could totally collapse, but as long as we collapse with the sense of liberty, that's all I care about. It's like, it's so stupid.
I remember, last week we had this big debate on police, and I think the shortcomings for Michael Malice, which I respect the guy, he's a good friend, but he kept saying police were bad.
Michael Malice.
And it sounded like all he was saying was, yes, there are big problems with police, and there's no alternative, or the system will always be bad in some way, but there is a worse. So I look at this now, and I'm like, okay, I agree to a certain degree on the deontological aspect of people should have free choice. You want to have a job, you can do it. You want to have finances, all that's fine. Is the end result then the Gen Alpha is 40 million and collapsing?
Can you imagine Michael Malice trying to defend himself without like military and police, right? Can you imagine? I always use this hypothetical where Michael Malice has the button, right, to deploy anarchy immediately or maintain some sort of statism, and he hits the button. The very next scene is he just gets killed. I actually made this as a comic, and I got a lot of flack for it because I showed Michael Malice dying. He even responded to it. But it's just funny. It's like someone like Michael Malice, like you hit the anarchy button, dude. It's over for him. He's going to be like, where are the women and children? I know how to sew. I know how to knit. I always wanted to knit a dress. Joe. Hey, Joe. Joe Rogan, this is your friend Michael. Things are really hairy around here. I was wondering if I can head out to your compound. Let's just stay a little bit with it. We can drink some fine wine. It's getting scary out here. It's like he'd be so toast.
And there won't be any humans in the future, or cities are going to start shrinking, infrastructure is going to start crumbling, and we're going to go, it was a moral good to make sure that we had this semblance of equality under the law, and then society was destroyed by it.
Well,
yeah, it makes no sense, dude. W for Tim Pool.
Of agency does mean bad outcomes sometimes. The issue is that I'm not opposed to people strongly.
Which proves that women have...
Dude, this is so stupid. You could just give a counter example of, well, limiting liberty also can produce good outcomes. So, did I see the debate with Angry Cop and Michael Malice? No, I'll check that out. Considering I need to polish up my Michael Malice impression, I'll do that next stream. I'll do that in the next stream. I'll do the whole... I'll take a look at the whole thing.
Have agency, things go bad.
No, actually, when most people have agency, people make terrible choices, right?
Every time Tim gets a W, his beanie grows.
Give young men free agency. What's the window where young men...
Every time he does a L take, his beanie gets more in the shape of a yarmulke.
Do the most crime. It's typically the ages where they get the most amount of agency. People, when they are given choice, often choose poorly, but that's not the reason we don't give them choice. Because if we don't give them choice, they are enslaved to correct action because of necessity, and that's not the world that we want to live in.
That's the world we do live in. People are given choice, right? You'd have to argue that we're not talking about choice, we're talking about consequences. So think about this. From a rights-based perspective, right, which is all these liberals talk about is rights-based, women's equality, it ends up being rights, troons, rights, gay, rights. It's always rights. But if you think about the structure of rights, it's actually authoritarian. It gives you the liberty to do something, but there are consequences. And so what do? You actually use force based on what they do, and then the consequence is that you use force. You basically, force is the consequence. And so she takes a consequence by force system of rights, and she advocates for rights, but she doesn't take the same approach for other things that cause other consequences, right? Because from her perspective, you would jail someone because of the consequence. It would be a harm principle, right? This is what's so frustrating about these types. They take a harm principle to their moral position in regards to violation of autonomy and rights. And they say, well, it causes harm. That's why when you violate someone and causes harm, we jail you. And yet, if voting causes harm, right, there's no consequence. If voting itself is an action that causes harm to the greater good, to the greater of society, there's no consequences. She actually defends the the act of the thing. She defends it. You know what I mean? So it's like they're never really fully consistent when you talk about this stuff. They have to equivocate what it is what their standard is. Sometimes it's harm. Sometimes it's autonomy. Sometimes it's they protect. They're against autonomy. Sometimes they're for autonomy. They can't decide.
Then we want people to choose.
Jessica Bowman says, smash that goal. Yes, smash that goal, y'all. Help me get my goals. Thank you so much. I don't have beard cream to sell. I don't do a promotion suddenly where I'm selling a vacuum. Okay? It's all you guys.
Choose the noble thing because they are choosing to do so.
Now, here's the thing.
Wait.
I see your perspective with agency. I see that, but we need to be honest with women. The problem is that we're not honest with women, right? We don't tell them, look, if you want to pursue a career, you want to make money, your chances of finding a guy down the road are going to be significantly harder. We don't tell them if you decide to be promiscuous now, it's going to cost you later on. We tell women they should be able to do whatever they want and not deal with consequences of their actions. In other words, go ahead and be on OnlyFans and you'll still find a guy that's 6'3", making $100,000 a month that's going to take you seriously. It's not going to happen.
Sure,
so we're not honest with women about what happens, and the reason why is because women don't really deal with the consequences of their bad decisions a lot of times until it's too late. At least with men, if I'm a loser, I have to deal with the consequences of being a loser. Women don't. We don't tell them the truth because financially, there's no incentive to tell women the truth because women are consumers. So we want to tell them what sounds good so they continue to consume.
Bro, real quick, it's like how Unilever owns Ben & Jerry's and they own Dove's Real Beauty campaign. It's like telling all these women, hey, you're beautiful if you're fat. By the way, here's our ice cream. Eat more of it.
Yeah. We don't
It's actually just smart. That's just good. Smart move. Smart move, Ben & Jerry's.
we don't tell women the truth, which is one of my biggest problems. Like, if we want to give them agency, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what he's saying is true. Like, there's a reward system that's so perverse with women, and it leads them to being delusional. So you could actually argue that feminism itself is descriptively delusional, which I tried to take that approach. It's a little more abstract, but feminism is delusional. It rests on an assumption that's descriptively false about reality. And are we confused that if feminism, which at its core is descriptively false about reality, it's a lie, are we confused that now we live in a society where women are completely delusional about their own status in society? I'm not confused. It makes total sense.
But at least let's let them know this is what your agency comes with, and if you decide to go down this road, this was going to happen. We don't tell women the truth, which is one of the biggest issues.
I'm totally with you, actually. So one of my biggest frustrations with feminism, as somebody who's defending feminism, which is funny because feminists really don't like me a lot of the time, is that I think that we have done a lot of infantilizing of women. I think that infantilizing of women was a form of sexism that came with low agency. And the issue is that women are being like, we want agency, but also baby us. And I think that that's a bad thing. The issue is that I have no issue with you saying, women, you should have a family.
I hate her.
It's the thing that you will.
I just want my eagle to branch off my hat. You know what I mean? Just fly off my hat. I want my eagle to pick her up by her Aerosmith hair. I just wanted the eagle to take her away. That's right, eagle. Go. Leave my head. Galactic Contradiction, $5. You should sell a beard oil where's just 50% breaker fluid, 50% honey, and see how many red pills buy it. I can't sell red pill. I don't have the shoulders. They would never listen to me. Red pills are like, they're all groomed. They look like gay guys, let's face it. They're just perfectly groomed. You know, you're just like, dude, where are you off to? Where are you off to?
Come to love the most. You should be more careful in who you're selecting. I don't have any issue with this. I have an issue with you taking away my rights because that takes away my agency.
Well, a lot of times.
Dude, your rights rely on the agency of other people. When I debated her, this was very clear. Even if it wasn't, even if I did a poor job, the idea is this whole agency thing. Dude, lady, Aerosmith lady, Steven Tyler, impressionist. Your concept of rights relies on other men to enforce them. That's an agency issue. Suddenly, if they decide no enforcement, guess what? You don't have any agency or rights. This is why it's a double standard. The not so you're a tard is like, I'm totally fine with everything unless it's a violation of agency. Cool. Are men obligated to defend your agency, defend your rights, put their body, as police officers or whatever in harm when someone violates you? Yeah, that's a part of agency, is that I actually rely on another agent's body to defend me. You little witch. You little sausage witch.
Sometimes we have to take your agency away so you make the right decisions. That's the problem.
Well,
and that's
the
how
issue,
it used to work for a
that's
very
not
long
meaningful.
time.
That's
because
not
when you
meaningful.
leave women, well, here's the thing. When you leave women to their own devices, they make really bad decisions.
The Star Child, this is why I think you're black. It's not just your name, the Star Child. Statements like I worship women's punani, that's such a... You're definitely at least half. You're definitely raised without a father. You were raised by a mom and an aunt. That's what happened with you.
When
Right?
we leave men
Look
to
at
their
the
own
divorce
devices,
rates,
they
look at
make
the
bad
marriage rates.
decisions.
Look at the way society is now, where the nuclear family is crumbling. When you give women their own decisions, they make really bad decisions. That's why the father was so important, because we would keep our daughters off the strip poles and our sons out of jail. At least with men, however, when we do dumb shit, we deal with consequences. With
How many
women,
men are addicted to porn?
They don't deal with consequences.
How many men are addicted to porn?
Here's the thing, though. They're addicted
A
to
lot.
porn because... You're right. But again, they deal with consequences for being fucking losers. Women don't. That's my point.
Women do,
What does that
because they
mean?
turn.
Okay.
You already wait. Hold on. Of course they do. You already said that if they go on and they have all this career and stuff, they're going to be.
This is also something that's interesting, is like, let me see if I can word this. If men are better, then it makes sense that there's consequences for men failing, right? That's part of the entailment of men being uniquely better, right? Now, if the critique is men are better and they lead, and it makes sense that they have failures and they're held to account a higher standard, it's because they're better. They're at a higher standard. Now, this would be consistent with Myron's view. Now, if he's saying women should be held to the same standard, he's now violating his starting assumption, which is men and women are fundamentally different in value. You can't have both, Myron. You have to choose. You either hold the view that men are superior in every way and they don't really need women, and it makes sense that they're held to a higher standard and they're judged and there's a consequence to them failing, and it makes sense that women don't have that. But you can't say, well, women, this is a critique, women don't have to be held at a higher standard. Well, according to your own view, they don't, because they're less than you. They're not as important, right? So you can't have both, dude. This is why you should be Orthodox Christian. You should be Orthodox Christian because you can maintain the separation and the difference between men and women. You could maintain the roles between men and women. You could maintain the duties between men and women. You could maintain the hierarchy. You could maintain the patriarchy. And you can hold women to a standard. From your view, Myron, you can't, because you have contradicting positions. One position is men are better, men are bigger, men are stronger, men don't really need women, and that's why we're held to higher standards. So when we fail, it's brutal. When women fail, it's not brutal. Well, you already know why, because you already separated you guys as a stand. Like, you've already described why, dude. You can't then go, they should be held at a different standard when you yourself don't hold them in higher regard to begin with, dude.
Less likely to find a man. That is the consequence of their choice.
But they don't
that
find
you're
out till
talking
it's
about.
too late, is my point.
The issue is that most
And we
men
don't
who are
tell them
addicted to
this.
porn don't discover how much it's fucking up their sex lives until
Their
they actually
dicks
get a
can't come
girlfriend
up,
and
yeah.
they can't inside their girlfriend. That's the issue with porn addiction.
Sure.
So
Wait,
typically,
hold on. Myron, you want to ban porn?
Do I? Man, it has a lot of... Dude, I'm very close to... Yeah,
he wants a nanny state, guys.
I think it needs to be regulated in a way. I think we need to regulate it.
You want to ban porn?
I think it's
No.
a problem.
No.
You don't want. You know,
I don't understand what's the L like in saying yes from Myron's perspective. I'm trying to wonder, what do you guys think the hesitation is there? I'm not going to psychologize him. Like, let's just say it's just from like a political system argument, like not like a personal thing. What is it? What's the hesitation? What do you think it is? I'm not sure what it would be. I mean, that's like PragerU level take right there.
you don't. But what?
I don't understand. What is lost? What's lost? I don't understand. Someone tell me. Tell me what's lost if he says yes. What's lost? Is it a certain amount of his followers? Does he work with someone? Does he make money off of it somewhere? Is there an investment in that? Like, what's going on? What's the L? What's lost if you say it? What's lost?
What about all those problems you just named?
Again, I don't want to back.
Is it free speech, Tiggly Bitty? Maybe that's what it is.
I worked
Vagine?
with a red pill dude who was always grooming himself and combing his beard. So
Yeah.
one day we put his beard comb in the porta potty, left it there for hours, then gave it back, and he kept using it.
Ew.
I still see the guy every now and then with the same beard comb. Lola Lolali.
Ew. Gross. It's all his audience, right? The Coomers, right? Yeah, you tell someone you're going to ban porn. What's that scene where Gandalf tries to take the ring from Bilbo and he just turns into a demon? He's like, yeah! Like, he knows, maybe that's what it is. He knows that if you say, oh, yeah, I'm going to take away your special time, or whatever, you know? I mean, the hesitation even. Like, if you're going to be a red pillar and make descriptive arguments of how feminism is ruining society, but you don't take a strong, say, yeah, why not? Yeah, let's ban that, whatever. He's like, well, maybe regulate it. Okay, what? Why should porn be banned? Because it's destructive to society. It's just destructive to relationships, and strong relationships are important for strong societies. Do you want to live in a weak society, atheist? Do you want to live in a society where men are enslaved to their passions, like that they're enslaved to delusion? And also another problem is, atheist, do you think delusions are good? Like, at some point, atheist, do you think it's a good thing to reward your body with a high chemical reaction, extremely high chemical reaction that you prefer? With a delusion, you pair it with a delusion. Think about what you're doing. You're pairing an illusion, your participation in something that doesn't exist, and you're training yourself to ejaculate to something that doesn't exist. Now, it's not an accident that men who are committed to this behavior, they end up going toward what's called cuckoldry. Why? Why is it? I'll tell you why. Because they're training their body and their mind to have a response, ejaculation, to viewing, to being the viewer. They're actually training themselves to be the viewer in the instance. So it's not an accident that that men keep this going, and then they reach a point where, what did Not So Erudite say? They can't get hard. They can't have sex with their wives or whatever, if this is the case. In many cases, it's not the wife. It's like a girlfriend or something. But it's because they're used to being the viewer. Okay, put it this way, atheist. If every time someone engaged with like a person who wasn't really there in the corner of the room and they actually ejaculated every time they engaged with an apparition, right? If there was a way to minimize the apparition from showing up in the room, would you do it? Would you minimize it? Why not? Why wouldn't you minimize it?
Ban drugs, even though drugs cause addiction a lot of time. I want people to make choices, and I want there to be off-ramps for bad
choices. Making things illegal is a choice, dummy. So wait, you want people to make choices, but they can't vote to make the choice to minimize choice? Look at her dumb eyes. She is so lost. Her man failed her.
bad choices as much as possible, but at the end of the day, I want people to make a noble choice. If
Good, a noble choice. I'll say it again. Voting is a choice. Voting is a choice. What are you voting on? You're voting on the use of force to uphold a policy. That's what you're doing. You're voting for violence. I'm down. Vote for violence. Good. Okay. Isn't it interesting that the people who are so about choice never give people the choice to minimize certain choices? And yet, we do that already. You can't do certain things. You can't do certain things. That's minimizing choice. There are consequences to certain things. You still have the choice to do it. There's a consequence.
I sit my kid down. Hold on. If I sit my kid down and I say carrots or broccoli, and they choose carrots, I'm not going to be like, wow, my kid's picking healthy food. No.
Stupid dumb eyes.
They were forced to the correct action by necessity. I don't want that
What if
society.
you had ice cream today?
You don't want a society where you control what people have. So why don't you just give your kid all the choices then, dummy? Why is your hair so stupid? Why do you have such stupid hair? Oh, I hate her hair. I just hate it. And by hate, I mean I reject it. I reject it. I reject that hair. I command the eagle to go find her. Rip it with your claws, eagle. Do you hear me, eagle? Go rip her hair from her scalp. Thank you. Thank you, eagle. I don't have a name for it. Do you guys want to name eagle? Here, let's play a fun game, considering I still have some more super chats to reach here. We're at 27. Can we get some, it doesn't have to be high-end super chats. Can we name our eagle with some super chats, please? Eagle needs a name. Eagle needs a name. Man needs a maid.
What if you said broccoli, carrots, ice cream?
Nab that wig, eagle. You nab it. That's right.
And what are they going to
Now
pick?
they have agency.
And what are they going to pick?
They're probably going to pick ice cream for a long
Fuck
time.
yeah, ice cream every time.
Yeah.
So
until they get tummy aches
here's my
and then
question.
they stop.
This is not to agree or disagree, but it's a philosophical moral question.
Yeah.
You keep saying, yes, these bad things are going to happen, but we should be able to choose.
Yes.
If that system leads to the
It'd be funny to have an eagle that only attacks disheveled people. How great would that be?
end of humanity, is it the
Is he the eagle?
right choice?
That system has led to a
Wait. You guys missed the super chat part. I will not be reading names of my eagle that are free in the chat.
America as it is today, and I think America
No,
is...
that's not correct.
It
well,
absolutely
technically
is.
it is.
Hold on.
With all its crime.
Even if the name is Chad the eagle. Chad the eagle.
Well, what is
dysfunction.
Western civilization? Western civilization is Greek philosophy, it's Roman bureaucracy and law, and it is Christian theology. That's the foundations of Western society. And all of these systems value individualism. It values your ability to make choices, including bad choices.
So let me.
Not without a consequence, witch lady. Do you understand? This is always happening, and unfortunately, the panel is not catching this. They should catch this, but they're not catching it for some reason. I don't know why they're not catching it. This is a pretty simple distinction. Choice, consequence of choice. This is what we're talking about. Making something illegal is actually not negating choice. It's introducing a consequence to choice. Why is no one on the panel making this distinction? Hello? Stein? Tim? Myron? What's going on? What we're talking about, if you're saying ban or make X illegal, drugs, porn, whatever it is you're pointing to, by making something illegal actually doesn't remove the choice. You garbage monster. You disheveled, discarded sausage machine? Why do they collapse this and nobody sees it? It's like, no, we're not talking about removing choice. We're talking about introducing consequences of choice. Very annoying. Machigel. That's funny. Machigel. Simon the Eagle. Simon's pretty funny. Thank you for that. That's actually pretty funny, Simon. That's such a pretentious, smart eagle. Simon the eagle. Pablo, Steve the eagle. Well, what about Pablo? Steve, like Pablo, you actually won without naming the eagle. Steve is funny too because it's such like an office name. Steve. Kenny the eagle. Pablo the eagle is hilarious. But then you'd have to have some sort of accent or tongue roll on his caw. Is it a caw? Is an eagle sound a caw? Or is it a screech? Regal the eagle. That's funny. Regal the eagle. Goigle. Goigle. Bagel the eagle.
Yeah, let me ask you, is it like, it's nice to have your door open on a nice, cool summer night, you know?
Sure.
It feels good. And then at 3 a.m, one day a guy breaks into your house. Yes, you can mention that there are good systems that lead to comfortability and success, but eventually those can create security problems.
Colin Rock, $5. Name the eagle Barton. Nice. That's who first presented the eagle as our national symbol. Really? I didn't know that. Barton. I have to look into that guy.
For your society, which creates the ebb and flow of security states.
Exactly, but
the
this is
problems
why
are going to get so bad that more Myrons are going to start emerging because they're going to say, crime is way too high. Women keep voting for Democrats overwhelmingly, and whether the reason is that women vote for Democrats,
Santa Claus the eagle.
that's what they identify, and then it's going to lead to some kind of social disorder and then an authoritarian shift.
Sure. So there's this.
Kamala would
I
be
wish
president right now if we had to.
She just stepped in shit. I'm so pissed now. Maybe this happens with me, and someone views it and go, "Oh, Jimbob, you just missed a step." Probably happens all the time. But being the viewer, it's easier. But man, did they miss an opportunity to make that distinction between choice and consequence.
Rely on female votes. She would literally
Probably
be president right now.
Yeah. So
That's bad.
It'd be a Democrat supermajority across the country.
Yeah.
So there's this concept, I wish I could remember what it's called, but it's this idea how essentially sometimes the advocacy, the social advocacy itself prevents the bad thing from happening. So let me give an example. You guys are familiar with Jordan Peterson, Bill C-16. He was super worried about, are you guys familiar with this? So I don't have to summarize it. You guys are familiar with this?
Oh my gosh. She's so condescending.
Great.
I want to skip the eggs. I want to throw full watermelons at her.
Okay.
Yeah, he lost that, didn't he?
He did, but one of his arguments for why he was doing it is he was saying this might lead to some sort of authoritarian control on free speech. And a whole
No such thing as free speech.
bunch of people, like, especially on my side, were like, you're so stupid. The issue is that it is very
Pseudo-prattle.
likely that his advocacy against C-16 is part of what informed Congress's interpretation of that bill to make it less authoritarian. I don't have an issue with you guys saying women should be more cautious. Women aren't being very smart. I don't have an issue with that. That's free speech. And that is some of the things that will probably offset the degradation of society that you're maybe worried about, if I agree with your, like, worldview.
God, she is just such a bullshitter, dude. You know, I could do my fair share of bullshitting. You know what I mean? I could do it. I can pull it off. I've done it. You know, just kind of run with something if I can. See what happens. But man, is she full of shit.
I care about is taking away rights. That's it.
Taking away rights? Okay, cool. Taking away rights. Sorry, but people don't have the right to do everything. So what is this right? What is this right? Look at this. Look at those wacky ex-girlfriend eyeballs. Look at them. Look at those. Look at those eyeballs. Oh,
That's my hard line. Don't
so insufferable.
take away the
Once
rights.
again, let me ask you the question. If the system you have described leads to the end of humanity, was it a good system?
I would have to believe you that the American project will lead to the end of society. I just don't think it will.
Well, I mean, it's kind of looking that way, considering society has to be made up of people, and we don't have a system, a meta-ethical system or a deontological system currently, because liberty above all, individualism above all, living your life how you want to, right? All of this is antithetical to becoming a parent. And what do we see in the numbers? We are getting pretty close to that 1.1 per family. You know, we're getting close. There's a certain tipping point where society ends. Japan, gone. The culture itself, the identity is gone. What is a culture if it doesn't have the population of its own kind, of its identity? What happens? And these people, they're just so they're just completely in denial.
The question is, let's try this again.
Sure.
If a system of open and free choice would ultimately lead to the end of civilization, human death and extinction, is it a good system?
Nope. But I don't think that that's the system that we have.
So at what point in the current trends would it get bad enough for you to believe we are on track for civilizational collapse? Could it be like fertility at 0.3 or 0.6?
No. That's tough because the fertility issue is way less about feminism and way more about our terrible food.
What? Oh my gosh, that's a cope. Are you kidding me? What? The trend of not having children is because of the food? Man needs a maid. Let's see how she extrapolates this one, folks. She's so condescending. Yeah, and this is me. Like, I make my living on condescension, and she's just blasting me out of the water.
And our agriculture
I
sector.
disagree.
Well, like you guys just talked about E and testosterone. Like that's
The food.
it's really bad for fertility.
Well, they do say that.
You notice how she said, I don't know if someone used the word fertility. Maybe that was their mistake. But we're talking about like being effective in reproduction. It's not particular instances of fertility. Yeah, fertility rate's gone down. We can talk about maybe the whole problem of messing, drugs. There could be a food element. Sure, I'm not going to discredit that. But to say feminism and its premises didn't contribute to women, now men, being feminists, choosing not to have kids for reasons, coincidentally, that it would violate and stomp on their choice to be free and go to Tuscany. Well, I don't want to constrain my ability to do things. Having a kid would really kind of throw a stick in the wheel of my awesome life of gallivanting around, consuming everything. I mean, this is insane. Jason Cassell, thank you for $10. Jimbob, can I pay to have Marilyn banned? She continues to make claims but refuses to engage. Name any amount and you'll pay. I won't give that up. Let's do a ban per day. I'll give you a ban per day, Jason. So I'll go for a low amount of $50 per day, and you, Jason, can decide how many days you want her banned. Okay, Jason? That's fair. I don't want to say, give me $1,000. I want Jason to ultimately decide, and I'm just giving the rate. I think that's a fair compromise. Galactic Contradiction, $5. She's literally the embodiment of the meme. The girl slingshots a watermelon right into her own face. It's so hard to listen to, dude. It's really tough. I know that you can I can get some quote content going, but I hate it. I hate myself. I hate myself for it, honestly. I'm disgusted. But she's gonna just keep saying her dumb crap.
That actually, I was saying that earlier about the microplastics. Men are to blame for the fertility issue too.
They are.
You're swimming from my blood.
By all means, we can mention that guys have gotten weaker and whinier, whatever you want to say. But the reality is, I won't make any excuses for it. I didn't have a family in my 20s. I just had a kid for the first time.
Congratulations.
Where was my generation? men and women to be like, it is a social imperative to have a family now, sort it out. For all the young guys, men were told sexual liberation, you don't need to have a family, who cares, birth control and abortions in every major city. And now Gen Alpha, I don't think people realize how insane it is that the upcoming generation that are 15 years old at their oldest, there's only 40 million already. And actually, I'm a big fan of this part. Universities are shutting down 18 years on from the financial collapse in 07.
Good. Universities should just go away. University used to be special. There used to be a special element to university. Like the purpose was, like the whole idea is not everyone could do it. Like that's obviously probably a better thing. I also think that there's some missing insight here that advocating for women to be mothers younger and being aware of the situation that it is. It's not like you just have kids and then, you want to prepare for that as well. But the irony here is that if women have children younger, they actually have more, quote, liberty and agency later when the kids graduate and they're all on their own. By what age? Let's say, my parents started at like 22, I think. 22, 23 years old. And when your kids are all grown up and out of the house, you're young. You can actually do stuff. I'm going to be 50 when my eldest is 15. That's insane. That's a mistake. That's a problem. And I wouldn't trade it for anything, but I'm just saying, if there was a culture that advocated for something earlier, by the time you're 50, you're like closer in age, like, dude, it's a missing opportunity, massive missing opportunity. Jason Cassell comes with 100. He decided 2 full days, 2 days to start Maryland. Jason, thank you for your donation and being also gracious, because you could have done crazy, you could have went crazy, and I'm glad I left it to you. So if I was like $1,000, I kind of would feel a little icky, honestly. I'd be happy with the money, but I'm glad you decided. So mods, we will fulfill Jason's transaction in Maryland. You are on your own to think about what you've done for 2 full days. Okay? Did someone already do it? Mods? 2 full days. Just do 1 time out at a... Wait, can you do 2 days in a row? 70? What is it? 48? You got it. All right. Thank you, Jason. I would consider that mercy. Jason was merciful. Now we know that Jason is a merciful person.
708, people my age.
Atheist says, when young girls have babies, they miss the opportunity to doing better in college. Oh my gosh. Are you just this dumb, atheist? They miss the opportunity of doing better in college and getting a better job to do what? To do what? To get in debt for life? Are you not listening to anything? Do I have to turn this into a pay per ban? Look, the same offer is for atheists. I have to agree on who it is, though. You can't just ban anyone. But atheist, if everything we just watched and covered, atheist comes in with, now I know he's a troll. He's good. Don't ban him, actually. No, he's a good troll. He has to be a troll. I mean, he has to be. He's not only a troll, he's orthodox. Because you cannot be that good. Nobody's that good. W's in the chat for atheist, actually. Everybody, W's in the chat. Now I just like you.
Didn't have any kids. There are no 18-year-olds to go to university or to start jobs. And so companies are struggling to hire. Universities are shutting down. And
flowing back and forth, because one side starts winning the culture war and the political war. They get too much power. They become kind of assholes, because a lot of us are assholes with power. And then
You're an asshole. But Gene?
Aloha Jimbob. I was just curious about what you think. Looking back on the Gabby narrative, do you regret in any way leaving your masculine metalsmith job? I'm glad you did what you did because selfishly I love the things you have created because of that decision.
Yeah, no, I don't regret it. I just know that when I get to a point where I have more space in my home, like a garage or something, or an extra room, I have neither. I'll be able to start that up. And that's like that's kind of like riding the bike. It's just more technical. But I know that you guys will really love it when I get to that point, and that'll be very rewarding for me to earn that point where I have space and a slightly bigger house where I can do metalsmithing and play with fire and like make stuff and make orthodox crosses and like ornate, really beautiful things. And I'm pretty excited. So no, I don't regret leaving at all. Not even a little bit. I'm so glad.
The other side kind of populates and becomes more popular again, right? And we've seen this dance.
We have 41 of 50, y'all. We have 48 minutes. I have pretty confident we can get that done. I like it better when it's done quickly and not leading up to the end, but sometimes you guys make it exciting. Don't make it exciting for me.
Dance back and forth between left and right, winning.
Can't wait for you to do metal music. I'll do that. I'll you know what I'll do? I'll get my acoustic guitar plugged in, and I'll get a metal pedal, and I'll just play metal music for you all. I think I could do it. I think I could do the whole voice and everything.
The culture war and leading all the time. This is kind of what democracy is. In fact, that's the fundamentals of what democracy is. And so I don't think that we should be looking at feminism going, this is going to lead to the death and decay of society. We should go, what?
It is. It is. What do you mean this will? It is. You bimbo. You garbage bimbo. You babbling bimbo. Oh, she's so annoying. Look at her pen, flailing her pen around. What are you doing? Quit, lady. Stevie White, $5. Thank you. 8 more to go, y'all. Put their stupid... Why don't you chew on your pen? Why don't you get a crayon and chew on it?
Parts of it are bad? What parts of the institutions are bad? What things need to be corrected, and how do we correct them? Because so far, the miracle of the American project is pretty damn fucking good. It's actually...
Oh, gosh. She's like...
the best.
She even says the same phrases as the meth guy with the chin.
Thing that's ever happened in human history, probably ever. Okay,
Yeah,
we love America.
That's pretty nuanced. I think that's the correct answer. Give it up for Nazirda.
No, Alex, fail, Alex. Alex, don't. You want me to send the eagle out? Alex, you want me to send the eagle out? I'll tell it. I know how to command it. What's the word in Game of Thrones where you command the dragon to use fire? Don't mess with me, dude. I'll send the eagle out. I'll pluck that little Tucker Carlson hat right off your head with my eagle. One command. Over. Don't simp. That was a terrible take. I'm so tired of nuance is important in certain philosophy, but there's some things that nuance is actually is the problem. Well, I don't know. It's a little bit nuanced. Honestly, it's a little nuanced. I'm gonna take a really slow nuance. I know he's just playing a game though. We love Alex, but he does need an eagling. He needs a real hard eagling.
I think we're going to agree with that. That's pretty...
Dracarius. Yeah, Dracarius.
It is a good answer, but I do want to make one point that's going on right now with Washington, D.C. is, and it's not, Trump focuses on D.C., but Chicago, all these big cities.
Like the cities? Okay.
It's insane how disgusting and crime-ridden our cities have become. I mean, we saw a tent city on the way here.
And that's liberalism, by the way. All of the liberal policies allow for the degeneracy, and the degeneracy pours over into the street, and you go, what happened? And then, you know what happens? All of the people who vote blue Go out and find nice little towns like mine that have gazebos and farmers market events that there's no crime and everyone has a kind of a peachy white skin. And their playgrounds are nice and there's not shit on the ground and, you know, there's families everywhere. And they come in, they're like, oh, this looks good. They leave their degenerate, disgusting abodes in the dumpsters, in the dumpster cities, and they just happen to gravitate toward nicer places that, I don't know, are built on largely, even if it's a classical liberal conservative thing, dude. Whoa, huge vagine.
Well, consider this a step toward your new studio space to create epic jewelry.
Thank
I too
you.
love the craft and would absolutely watch you teaching what you know.
Thank you. That's very generous of you. I really appreciate that. W's in the chat for that person. Thank you. That's very generous. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and it's been some time since I practiced, so I love it. I love the idea, especially like multiple cameras where I can still do sort of comedic commentary on things, but also make something amazing for people, have people order things, and I could make it on my live stream, and they could be a part of like me making something for them and watching it. I mean, there's so much there that I'm sort of longing for. So $100, very generous. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. What was I saying?
And there's two questions. Why does the city allow this? And I don't mean to forcefully remove people with no choice. You can make the liberal argument of why are they not trying to help?
Oh yeah, I was talking about this constant migration from crappy blue run cities to red states or red towns. It's never ending. Never ending. They never piece it together. That maybe the policies you vote for that allow for the preservation of a nice town are given by traditional values that are also derivative or downstream from a theological position. They never quite make this connection, do they?
Help these people to solve that problem, or the conservative argument, why are they allowing people to camp on
Jimbob's specialty grills. I do know how to make grills. That's funny you say that. I know how to make grills.
their street? But let's.
Yeah, and we got to get to people. And one thing we didn't talk about, but one point I wanted to make earlier, the aspect of trans people taking taking over women's space, because
Yeah.
you don't think that trans women are a threat to actual femininity or whatever.
Alex, there's no thing called a trans woman. I know he's just using this like colloquially so he can get the point across, but you got to stop granting these horrifically awful terms that don't exist.
I mean,
I'm not
like
for
a
them.
trans person going into.
You mean a dude? How are you going to demonstrate the thing people are supposed to be outraged and struck by if you don't say a man going into a woman's bathroom, not a trans. Not a trans. A man.
A woman's restroom, like, isn't that against
I'm just for co-ed
feminism?
restrooms because if you've ever seen like men's bathrooms versus if you've ever travel, get a passport. I promise. In Europe, they have oftentimes co-ed bathrooms, and one of the best things about
At, like
it.
nightclubs. I
No,
feel
no,
they
no.
have
Like
them,
on
but-
like public streets, like all through like Venice and stuff. I remember going to co-ed bathrooms in the UK. Like in France, it was like totally normal. Surprise, surprise, France. Yes, in France.
France.
And one
Oh gosh.
thing that I would actually point out here is if you've
gosh.
ever seen the lines between like the male bathroom and the woman bathroom, it would be great if we were sharing the same space. Okay, we're having to get rid of the bathroom way fucking
I'm
fast.
actually, hold on, I'm sorry.
Because you guys-
I'm very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about this.
Would you take a class on how to sound like Hillary Clinton?
Sometimes the woman's bathroom
Ah!
is fucking disgusting
Ah! Ah!
because women will not sit on the seat. If you could just sit, everyone could sit. They like hover over and they like it looks like they were hula hooping and pissing all over the place. It's disgusting. It could just be.
These guys really want you to know how
crazy.
dirty their bathrooms are.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they are, but you'd be if we could just sit, then we could all sit.
See, men are
Okay, I see the stupid eyes now.
better at
If we
everything,
could
even
just
bathrooms.
sit, we could all
We're better at
sit.
everything, even
There was a-
bathrooms.
there
They
was-
can't even pee correctly.
Well,
we give them
I
rights.
didn't say that, but
It's crazy.
You guys.
It's very simple. Like if you go somewhere and you have children, and I have two young girls, and so the horror of potentially Now, be it that they're not at the position, at least in public, they would be going into a public restroom without their mother or someone, an adult. But if it were the case where you didn't have the option and they had to go in, that would be awful if there was some freaky man in there. And there could just very well be if it's not policed. That's not to say like the policing aspect is like always patrolling. But if you did see a dude going to a bathroom that was a woman's, stop him. Be like, but I'm in a wig and a dress. The guy should be like, I don't care. You're a man. This isn't normal. Okay. Anyway, I'm totally an advocate for a freak bathroom. You know what I mean? There's a designated freak bathroom, and it's got every symbol and every flag on it, on the door, every shape of a being. It's all just one big goblin thing. It's like this big weird avatar, and it just means everything. You know what I mean? And like any of you freaks can go in there, and then the families and the good people and the normal people look at the freak bathroom. They say, okay, we just stay away from the freak bathroom. Fine, we'll give you what you want. We give you your own special freak show bathroom. I'll pay for it. I'll even help. I'll campaign for the freak bathroom. I don't care. You guys with me? Chaw, $10, thank you so much. Germany made a government video about telling men to sit when they pee. I'm good with the less gay. That's so hilarious, dude. No, obviously, you'd think men piss on the seat more, but they're right. The women's bathrooms, they're a disaster. Absolutely, because they all don't sit down. So sitting while you pee is like, it's people avoiding sitting while they pee. They just hover and piss everywhere, right? What about the Abuser Olympics, JB? I'm not sure what that means, Abuser Olympics. Abuser Olympics? I'm not sure what that means, Duck.
Telling you guys.
There's a very funny
Prove
story.
my point.
Real quick, we're gonna go to the audience, but there was a really funny story where this woman was an Antarctic researcher complaining about sexism because she couldn't stand up and piss in Antarctica, and so she was insisting that the U.S. spend research the research grant money on building outhouses in the middle of Antarctica because it was sexist that men could unzip and release, and she couldn't, and she didn't think it was. She didn't want to use one of those funnels.
They have the funnel, yeah. I know.
She should
Anyway.
just use the
Duck says, are you all activated, stretched? What are you saying, dude? Stop talking in code, Duck. Do you need your... What's going on with you? We don't know what you're rambling about.
My mom used one for years.
Do I have to send the eagle? Really? It was a play on the psychological and physical abuse encouraged by masculinity and religious identity. You're saying nothing. It's gibberish. Okay? If we hit the goal, we'll have Duck come on. It's always a fun time when Duck rambles. What are you talking about? It was a play on the psychological and physical abuse encouraged by masculinity and religious identity. That's a meaningless, gibberating statement. You say nothing. You're a poet. Write a book. You don't have an argument. I'm going to send the eagle after you. You don't deserve a beard.
We're not spending money on outhouses.
Look, the penis.
The religious and masculine identity, blah, 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 blah. You sound like a little bitch. You sound like a woman. You sound like a freshman chick in college who just learned, like, the word, like, oppression or something. It's pathetic. You're not even a man, dude. You're like the best arguments that trans exist.
Tech is a good tech, I will say. That shit of spraying around, that's pretty cool.
Imagine being a dad and saying that sentence to your son. Well, son. It's important that I teach you about the psychological and physical abuse encouraged by masculinity and religious identity. Oh, dude, that's like when your son should definitely punch you.
All right, guys, this has been
You gibberator.
a good debate so
one
far.
here, right?
Yeah, I got the list right here. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick some names, and you're going to immediately haul ass to this side of the stage.
Questions.
Expect to solve a problem by doing the exact same thing that you think is the problem.
Well, because It's, when men have monopoly of power, good things happen. When women have it, society
Come on up,
crumbles.
Come on up, Ava. That's good. She's smart. No, the other way. Just come this way. No, this
Yeah.
way.
I
Come
like
on
how
down.
That's why I said exactly. What are you saying, Duck? What are you even saying, dude?
I like
Oh,
it when
this
she,
is spicy. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's-
making fun of
What's religious and masculine identity, Duck? What is it?
Myron.
Ooh,
Eva,
Myron.
give it up, Eva.
All right. Eva or Ava. Ava.
Like from Wall.
Hello.
Yeah,
How are you?
Is it
It's
is
Eva, I
it
fucked
Eva
that
or
up.
Igua?
Eva.
Eva. Okay.
She looks Latvian.
So explain why Myron was wrong again.
She said I'm radical, basically.
Well, I just think that your rhetoric is exactly the same thing that you hate.
Okay.
And I was wondering how you think that's going to solve the problem. If women hating men is what has caused this problem in the first place, how is men hating women going to fix it?
Yeah.
So worried. Why the worry? Average redhead $2. I always enjoy a game of duck hunt. 3 more to the goal, y'all. Play my insane. Guess what? I'll play the goal audio and do eagle sounds at the same time.
Yeah, so it's not us hating you guys. It's just us realizing that you guys are not equal to.
Huh? Claiming to belong to religious and masculine spaces pertaining to behavior and psychology, imagining social rules. It's not a trick question. I don't know what you're saying. You're still not saying anything specific with any specific examples. You're just kind of generally saying words, and we don't know what you're referring to. What's a masculine space? What are you saying? My critique is a lot of masculine spaces, Duck, are not actually religious. Many are, but there are many that kind of get propped up that aren't. They're not identifying as religious. So you're kind of equivocating masculine and religious. So I don't know what you're talking about, Duck, as usual. You're a babbling homeless impersonator. What are you saying? What are you doing? Get your life together. All right, send the eagle. Bree, thank you so much for that super chat. The cheap chimp in old balls voice. Old balls, yeah. Old balls. Chad says, it would be funny if you played Duck Hunt while debating Duck. Well,
To us, and we have to be the custodians of women. We have to protect and provide.
is Duck describing a bathroom? Is a bathroom a patriarchal, religious, masculine space? Crucible Crusader, $5 for the Duck Hunt.
Guys, I'm actually.
We hit the goal. You know what that means. Here comes the eagle. Simon. I think I'm going with Simon. It's just so funny. I think I'm going to start learning trumpet. You know how great it would be to be able to do a trumpet stab out of nowhere? Just. Hit it, boys. Elephant. Thank you so much, everybody, for getting me there. Thank you so much for all of your kind contributions today. One day, I will, the first moment, this is all toward this moment where I have my setup and I light my torch for the first time and melt some metal. And you guys will remember all of the help along the way. If you're homeless in the dumpster next to Orthothugs, you should hold a pet duck. Oh my gosh, this dude, that's so funny. Like, this is the funniest thing ever. This is the clip I got. Dude, I wanted to steal that and use it for my show, but it's only fair that Orthothugs content, mostly if it's super valuable like that clip is, to stay. It'll be a Stream Deck asset on Orthothugs. So when someone says something dumb, which is more rare over in Orthothugs because it's more fun, it's less contentious, but I will play, I just get so mad. because it's just so damn good. Very rude, lacking compassion, LOL. Did you just LOL me, Duck? Duck, do you have a household where you and your wife flip the coin of who's in power? Is that what happens? All right, let's just see some more of this. I'm getting sort of bored with this.
Very big into
I just get so
a
mad.
traditional relationship where the man is the leader and protects and provides.
Did I tell you guys this coming Ortho Thugs on Thursday? We have something so wild for you. Just that's all I'm giving you. That's it. That's all I'm giving you.
For his woman, and all she has to worry about is making sandwiches and taking care of the kids. And I think that's how society's thrived for a long time. So it's actually the contrary. I think men need to protect women from themselves a lot of the times, because I don't think women in positions of power leads to a great society.
So one other thing that you said earlier was that men being in power has led to a great history.
Yes.
Do you think that the history of men being in power is flawless?
No, there's always going to be flaws with human error in general.
So human error in general, that includes men and women. And why would women have more error than men?
Well, here's the thing. We don't have any matriarchies that have stood the test of time, really. Everything that's been successful has been a patriarchy. So, and
for
there's
beehives.
there's a bunch of
Except for what? What is she saying again? Beehives? Did she just really go there? Beehives? That's what the thing? That's the thing we're gonna... Is that it? Simon? Rip her hair off with your claws. Simon the eagle. Did you just say beehives?
beehives.
We're not
Fantastic.
bees, though. We're not
Of
bees.
course.
I hate stuff like that.
Except for bees.
Yeah, we're not bees.
wait.
Sorry, Ava, we're not bees.
Wait, but if we just granted your evolutionary argument of like development, yeah, patriarchies have been the most
Oh, she has to put her 2 cents in.
competitive, and now what we're seeing is that an egalitarian society.
You're right. That does, at least, it doesn't earn the entire L's in the chat, but certainly a piece of it. Bees? That's enough.
Society that includes women in like the workforce and the right
like
to
the-
vote
in the-
are the most successful societies in modern. Like it seems like we've just continued to advance, and the next level of advancement is the inclusion of women.
No, I don't.
I don't know what to tell you. History disagrees.
No, I
No. We just got done telling you how we're not in a good position, right? And the argument is, well, does feminism and this push for a false equality, that's the thing. It's a lie. It's a false equality. It can't be equal. It's impossible. So it's a violation of the law of identity. So we're basing on, she's like, well, we come so far. Look at the GDP. That is the dumbest argument ever.
again, feminist.
If she said we evolved from the evolutionary argument, we evolved to be dominant, we evolved to enslave people, and if it worked out for some group of people, then we evolved for that group of people to enslave the rest of the people, and you couldn't argue against it.
Feminism has led to so many problems with this whole egalitarianism
So
because,
stupid.
again,
So
when-
Saudi Arabia is better than America.
I'm sorry?
Saudi Arabia is better than America. We're back here.
You are correct about that, but they have some things in better check
Interesting.
than we do when it comes to dealing with their women, right? But yes, to go back to what we're saying, I think a male-led society is going to fare off a lot better than a female-led society. Is my point. Everything is going to be prone to human error, but I think when men are in charge, there's going to be less error.
And there's a different argument here. There's sustainability, and there's your value judgment about what's being sustained, and these things get collapsed as well. For instance, she says Saudi Arabia. Well, is a society that's able to even maintain its standards better than one that collapses because it can't defend itself? Of course. On that metric, it's better, right? What is a society if it's not sustainable, right? It's a fair question. So if you go to a Saudi, she's trying to do some sort of like apparent reductio. It's not actually a logical reductio, but it's like it's like for the audience, she's hoping, oh, you just said Saudi Arabia is so good. Oh, it's an emotional appeal. Totally emotional appeal. And Myron did a fair job just slapping it down, because he's saying in regards to this aspect, yes, they're superior. But the thing is, the question isn't whether or not one society is, quote, better than the other from Eurudite's arbitrary preference standard. The question is whether or not any society, good or bad. I made this argument against her at the whatever podcast. Either a society you think is good or a society you think is bad, both of them have a precondition for them to be societies. They need to be maintained and preserved, or otherwise they're not a society. That requires, for either the good or the bad, men. Like, that requires women playing certain roles, and men playing predominantly the roles of defender, offender, enforcer. There's no society without this element. And there's no society without women taking on the obligation and the duty to procreate. Doesn't matter which one you prefer. That's not what's in question, dude.
Okay. I would just say to that
don't cry.
Throughout
Don't cry.
history, and you think about all of the major wars and everything.
Nice teaching. That's funny.
Are we
Get the
in a
dishes,
significantly different place on a world cultural scale than
You crying?
men-led societies?
I'm a little confused by your question. Are you saying, like, are we...
With women having the right to vote, has that changed? Have there been more wars since women have been given the right to vote?
I think yes.
Yeah,
In the United States? And without declaration of war.
Yeah, are you saying, like, the United States? Yeah, you can make the argument. Yeah. I mean, again, my thing is, I think that men are better than women in everything that matters, and I think men need to lead society, and I think women should.
I mean, that could be the end of the stream. Honestly, I'm tired of listening to these people loop. I'm tired of listening to them loop. They're just looping. The feminist rests on a bunch of nonsense, and then the anti-feminist doesn't get to the point where they're advocating for strictly Christianity. So it's like a dead race. Dead race.